complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello, you play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
And welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Jersey, everybody. It's a big Thursday coming off a couple of matches in Baylor athletics yesterday, and a couple more to come today as the men's tennis team meets #7 Texas, and the equestrian team competes in their postseason tournament. I'm Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims. How about this? Top of the hour, we're joined by a coach who's almost got enough rings, national championship rings that is, for all 10 fingers. I mean, we're getting close. We're getting fit for the second thumb. Is that right, Coach Mulkey?
That's right.
Is that where the next one, say it does come, will go? Have you planned that out strategically?
I haven't really planned it out. I don't wear my rings very much. But I mean, we can probably get one to fit the thumb if we need to.
We can find a way. I'm sure you guys can find a way. Coach Mulkey, thanks so much for joining us today, especially at the top of our show. What a way to start off with a bang. And I tell you what, you guys obviously had another bang of a season, #2 in the country right now with Oregon right behind you, headed into the postseason. I mean, kind of your season in review. What has it been like in this COVID year?
You know, I'll probably be able to digest it and talk about it a year later because it has been a lot. COVID has been a lot. We are grateful and feel blessed to be able to compete at all. And know there were a lot of teams out there, NCATA teams, I should say, a handful that weren't able to compete because of COVID, just the region of the country they were in. So we're lucky to be out there doing it. And it has been a challenge, but I'm proud of the team. They're super resilient, and anything that's been thrown at them, they've just stepped up and knocked it out of the park. So we're excited for the next week and a half.
Coach, I want to take you back to that Mary Hardin-Baylor match, the first one of the season, when you're working with athletes who didn't get their typical off season. You've got athletes who had last season just canceled in the middle of it, in the middle of a tear, I should say. And then going into that match, how complete was this team and ready to go, just jumping right into things?
You know, that we did well. I think for that, just for the mindset you had to have jumping into it, and the fact that we had some practices in the fall. They looked a lot different, but we were lucky enough to get practices in the fall. So we were not exactly where we wanted to be against Mary Hardin-Baylor, per usual, right? You don't want to peak at the first meet, and we didn't. And we still haven't peaked. So, but there was a lot of emotion that meet that I saw from the athletes that I wasn't expecting to. And it makes total sense. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it. But I had a couple of athletes come up to me with tears in their eyes after a heat and say, I can't believe we're actually getting to do this again. And, you know, we forget that it was just ripped from them last year, along with every other sport that was competing at the time. So I think that the athletes are really grateful to be able and to get out there and do what they love and what they've trained to do their entire lives.
I want to know, Coach, for you especially, we've talked about it, 9 national championships on the forefront of your sport, but still, it's no easy task in a year, especially like this. We've heard from plenty of coaches that just the fatigue from the team, things being so different this year, it's so tough to keep morale high. What have you done? How have you made this season work for your players to make it as easy on them as possible?
We try to have fun as much as we can. I feel like, there's just been, to add to the things you just listed that you've heard from other coaches, there's been a lot of uncertainty. And I think that's the stuff that kind of hangs out and nags sometimes, is just the uncertainty of what's next and the other shoe dropping, so to speak. And I'll say we had 5 meets. We did not compete the same starting lineup in any of the 5 meets. It was constant change. So what we've tried to do is make it fun and literally go day by day, because that's the only thing you can do. And when you get a chance to compete, enjoy it and make every single second of it. And our 5th-year senior, Cam Bryant, spoke up at some point during the year and said, you guys, this could be taken from us at any minute. And it was her senior year. So you forget that that's where their brains are. So we just try to laugh and stay loose as much as we can and enjoy every moment.
Coach, I want to take you back. I'm bouncing around a little bit here. You had Mary Hardin Baylor to open the season, and then you go Oregon. At that point, they were number 2 in the country. You're in Eugene, a place that you're very familiar with as a former head coach. I know you've fallen to them a couple times on the road, and you guys were that close. Less than a point loss against Oregon on the road. Take me through that meet, especially with it being the second of the year for you guys.
We just made some uncharacteristic mistakes. I've said that before about this meet. It was just there were 3 different things that happened that just never happened with us during that meet. Had any one of those not happened, we would have won, because all of those things were worth a point, right? But that's not how to look at it. We lost. They outcompeted us that day. They scored higher than we did that day. And for me, I think it was good for us. Our team is not cocky. If you come and hang out with my team, you will see very quickly they are not cocky at all. They work so hard. They will outwork anyone. So it wasn't that they needed a wake-up call, but there's something about scoring less than the team on the other side of the mat. I think sometimes, I've said this earlier, but I think sometimes you have to lose to know how to win. And I think it was a really great wake-up call. At that point, Cam Bryant, our 5th-year senior who came back, and it took advantage of that last year of eligibility. She was the only person on the team that had lost a meet when we lost Oregon. So this was something that they, I think it was good for them. And then honestly, we went into that HPU meet a couple weeks later and did not do our best. And I think if you ask anyone on the team, that one felt like a loss to them, because they did not, they didn't walk out of there feeling like they had done their best. So, which was also good for us, because it set us up to peak at the right time.
Coach, that's where I was going next. You didn't get another meet post-Oregon for 3 weeks until you finally got to compete again against Hawaii Pacific, and that was the number 8 team in the country. So you're not facing a slouch. You've got to get up for that one coming off of a loss. What was the message going into that meet?
Let's execute, and I think that you look at that meet overall, we did right up until team event. I was extremely proud. We had upped some difficulty. We had changed some personnel at the last minute, per usual for COVID, and they really went out and executed in the first 5 events. We got to the team event and we had some, again, things that don't usually happen to us. We had a fall in a pyramid section, and then we had several falls in tumbling. And that was, the message after that was, this is not good enough. And the great thing about our team is they knew it wasn't good enough. And we got the W. We had some start value advantage over Hawaii Pacific, and we ended up winning that meet. But in our minds, it didn't feel like a win. So I feel like the training after that was that's when they really stepped up their game.
Obviously, you guys were able to regain some momentum after that with East Texas Baptist win, and then going into Oregon 2.0. You guys had already seen them once and fallen once. What was the mantra going into that meet in Waco, trying to knock them off and get revenge?
It was just execute, do what we know how to do. Trust your training, execute. And they were, you've probably heard me talk about it before, but I love the stages of team where storming, norming, performing, whatever, all of them. I always get them wrong, try to do them fast. But our team is turning a corner, and I felt like at that Oregon meet, you saw Baylor of old, right? We started turning the corner. They're thinking for each other. They're just clicking on all cylinders, and we still have some room for improvement. So that's exciting going into the championship. And we just didn't think about Oregon going into that second meet. Quite honestly, it was more about let's do what we know we can do. That's all we can control. And if you watch the sideline, I think it's always so important to watch the sideline. They were having fun. They were having a blast. You didn't feel a lot of nerves or anxiety on the sideline. You just felt like, I'm ready to get out there and do this. So that's when at my coaching style, I know we're in a good spot when you feel like that on the sideline.
I did. That's where I wanted to go next. I wanted to know, with you as a coach and your team's mentality going into those Oregon meets, because that's the big rivalry, the big meet, it seems like every year when Oregon and Baylor square off. Does your team get up? Is there any extra preparation? Does it look different that week when you know you're facing a foe that you guys have really gone toe-to-toe with at an even level over the past few years?
I don't think our preparation looks any different. We prep for every team and every meet the same way. But I think competing against Oregon will always bring us to a different level. I think we bring Oregon to a different level. It's just fun. I think that's when the athletes go, this is what we came out here for. And, if you ask my athletes, we didn't score higher than Oregon that first meet, but our team had fun. And they would tell you that, like, that was so much fun. We fought so hard. And then, of course, we have to fix these things. So I think competing against Oregon just brings us to a different level as it does Oregon. But I tell you, Azusa Pacific University is the number one team in the country, and we don't get to see them a lot down here, but they're good. And this is going to be such a fun tournament to watch.
Coach, you're reading my mind on all of these.
I'm sorry.
And that's right where I was going next, too. You have been, like we talked about, on the forefront of this sport, spearheading it to become an NCAA-sanctioned sport. I mean, everything that you've done for acrobatics and tumbling over the past decade and more. And now this season, to have a number one seed that's not Oregon and it's not Baylor, what does that say about the evolution of this sport?
I think it's wonderful. No, don't get me wrong. I'm a Baylor fan through and through. So we always want to be on top. But what it says to me is, the competition's getting stiff, and it always has been. With Azusa Pacific, they're one of the first teams. They're good. They're always good. We don't get to see them as much. But I won't say I'm excited to not be the number one seed, but you got to win to be the number one seed. We didn't beat Oregon, and then Azusa beat Oregon. So it fits where we are. It's the right ranking. And I'm excited for the sport. I'm excited for what everyone's going to see in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm going to do everything I can to keep Baylor on top, no matter how many sport teams we have. But I'm excited for the sport. And then I have the utmost respect for Kara Meyer, who is the head coach at Azusa Pacific. Most of their seniors from last year, they were good last year. Nobody got to see them because of COVID. Their seniors came back. They picked up right where they left off, and they look fantastic. They're actually more evenly matched with us than Oregon. So that is, we got to get through Oregon on day one, and I have every intention of doing that. We'll focus on Oregon first, but everybody should come out and watch Azusa. It should be a really fun tournament overall.
You talked about it, Oregon. You've got them again on Thursday, and how that's always we got Oregon. That's the rivalry. What is it like now preparing for them for the third time this season? Is the message any different? How do you get your girls ready for number 3?
It's typical for us to see them 3 times in a season. Many times we've seen them since I've been at Baylor. We've seen them in the championship. There has been a time that we've seen them in the semis, I think back in 2017 or 2018. We saw them in the semis. The message is always the same. If you look at Oregon's start values versus our start values, we have an edge. We have like a 2.4 edge on them going in to the meet. So we have to execute. Our tumbling is stronger than Oregon's. So we usually show up in that, and show up there. So for us, we just have to execute. I don't think the prep is different. I don't think the message is different. It's let's go out, let's get through this, and we're definitely not focusing on Azusa Pacific by any means yet. We've got to get through Oregon, and it won't be an easy feat. I mean, it will be work to get through because Oregon's going to bring it too. So Thursday's going to be fun.
Coach, I want to know, away from this season, away from the tournament, which I want to get back to in a second since it's in Waco. Away from that, there are a lot of coaches, and whether it be at Baylor or anywhere, that their job is to win ball games and create, great leaders and turn, young adults into great adults. For you, though, you're not only doing that, tasked with that, but also someone who is helping build your sport in general across the board at the national level. I mean, you've got your hand in so much with this. Do you ever just step back and think, wow, like, this is wild what we're doing right here?
It is pretty surreal to think about the fact that we are making history in the moment. I would say that. And it's not just me. There's a lot of people that are working to build the sport. I happen to be the loudest mouth, I think. So I'm out, getting the other schools to add and things like that. But it is very surreal. I remember back in 2014, we had just doubled in size. Our organization had from 5. We had gone from 6 teams to 5. And then we went from 5 to 14 teams. And I remember being at the national championship in 2014 at the event finals and standing back in the back and watching all of these teams. Because, for the event finals, teams from all over the country come, the groups from different teams. And I got emotional. I was like, holy crap, look what we've done. I mean, that was at 14 teams. We have 37 teams right now. We're going to have 40 teams by the end of the summer, 40 plus teams. I have actually have a call with the school that's going to add here when I'm done with you. I have a call with the school that's going to add hopefully in the next couple weeks. So I just hope everyone, I appreciate the Baylor support, and this is such a special place, and our fans are absolutely the best. I would argue anybody down, but I hope everyone listening understands truly what Baylor is doing, and that Baylor is the standard in the sport, and they're really helping pave the way. And because of the way Baylor is doing it, and the way they treat our team, and the way they embrace this sport, even before it was an NCAA sport, Baylor is really paving the way for so many other young women across the country. And you're going to see these Division I schools pop up soon. And Drake, we're going to be talking eventually, and it's not going to be about Oregon. It's going to be about all these other schools that maybe are in our conference. Maybe they're in the SEC that we're going to be going up against. And you and I will talk about this day when we only had 37.
I can't wait for that. I know that I've gotten to follow along. You and I did an interview right when COVID hit. I was at a different outlet then, but I remember it being, hey, we're growing, we're trying to grow, but COVID, what is it going to do? How's it going to stunt it? But to hear that it's still growing, even in this, is unbelievable. And Coach, congratulations for what you've done at the forefront of that. Not only that, though, but being in Waco, being at home for the national championships. What is that going to be like, having your Farrell Center advantage?
There is nothing like competing in the Farrell Center. So I am excited. The championship was supposed to be at the University of Oregon this year, which would have been a great venue. They do a great job running it up there. We held it there the first year. We had a championship when I was coaching there. Matthew Knight Arena is a great arena. So I hope that they'll host it down the road again when COVID's gone. But when the opportunity came up, another thing I love about Baylor, it was going to be, I think, impossible to host it at Oregon this year because of COVID issues, that region. And just their protocols and whatnot. And so, it wasn't me begging to have the championship here. I was happy to have it, but Baylor stepped up and said, let's do it here. Let's do it right. These student athletes deserve, and all student athletes across the country that have qualified, after this year, they deserve a great championship. Let's do it at Baylor. Let's put it on TV, So I'm excited to be back in front of our home crowd and for all of the student athletes that are coming, from the 4 teams that qualified. I'm excited for them too. I don't think Azusa has been able to be in front of fans this year.
Wow.
Unless they were able to be in front of fans when they went down to Arizona Christian. I know when Oregon came here, it was the first time they got to be in front of fans this year. So their parents, we honored their seniors because their parents were in the stands. Like, what a weird year. So anyway, I'm thrilled to be back in the Farrell Center. I think it's the greatest place to compete. And our fans just understand the sport and are so loud and so classy. While they support their Bears, they are the classiest fans around. So I hope that I hope it's already sold out. You better hurry. They're going fast. So if you haven't got your tickets, go get your tickets.
Why do you keep doing this? Coach, your message to the fans. That's exactly where I was going. This is the last question I have for you. Your message to the fans, being in Waco and your personal 10th national championship on the line. And what is it, 6 now for Baylor in general, for Baylor itself?
Yeah, 5. I think we're at 5 at Baylor, 4 at Oregon, 5 here. So yeah.
Glad to know that we're both losing count. I'm glad, but
that sounded terrible. I apologize.
That on the line, though, what is your message to Baylor fans, Waco locals, whether it be in Dallas even or Houston, that can come out and see history again?
It's just going to be so much fun. I just want everybody to come. And I encourage, even if you've not been to a meet and you've been stuck inside for COVID, put your mask on, come to a meet and check it out. You will not be disappointed. Definitely come to the Baylor meets, but check out those other teams that are there too. I mean, it is an honor and a pleasure for these student athletes to be in front of a crowd like we have at Baylor. It's what they work their whole lives for. So let's show everybody what Baylor's about. I will say that the tickets are going fast. We're only at 25%, which we can get a lot in the Farrell on the one, side. And I guess maybe even around the sides with 25%, but get them while they're hot and just come out and yell loud. I think our spirit leaders will be there. I have to brag. Our Spirit and Traditions program are the best in the country. And we're out at the Oregon meet in full force and led the crowd. It was an electric atmosphere. So I expect nothing less at the championship.
I love it. Coach, thanks so much for coming on today. Before we get you out of here, we got our Bear Games question today. This one's super easy. Okay. I know these always sneak up on people. Today's, if you could take one restaurant from a place that you've lived in the past, maybe from where you grew up, and move it to Waco, what would it be?
This one's easy. Okay. Off the Waffle in Eugene, Oregon. So people ask me all the time if I miss Eugene, and I say, I miss Off the Waffle. So if anybody wants to franchise that out and bring it to Waco, it will be an immediate success. So, and if you're in Eugene, you should go there.
You guys heard it here first. That's Off the Waffle. It's coming to Waco. Bring it in. Hey, Coach Mulkey, thanks so much for coming on the show today. And I want to say congratulations on all that you've done, not just this season, but in decades past for your sport. And it's always an honor to talk to you.
Thanks, Drake. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Absolutely. Again, that's Coach Felecia Mulkey, the Baylor acrobatics and tumbling team. She's got 9 national championships personally. Which fingers do you put those on? At some point, you got to fit them for a different finger that's not your ring finger. You got to put them somewhere else. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot of good stuff for you today. It's a loaded show. Loaded with guests. It's WNBA draft day. The softball team was in action last night. Women's tennis beat TCU. Tonight, men's tennis plays. A couple other folks in action. All right, don't go anywhere, though, because when we come back, we're going to talk Baylor parades, more men's basketball stuff going on. There's just a ton to go. I'll tell you this, the first hour of SicEm365's Up-Tempo is brought to you by Banson Business Services, owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 premium member Jonathan Green. Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. Banson specializes in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can even help you with your taxes. Their business helps you run your business. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson for more information. This is Up-Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32 of the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2 seed for the event. We'll take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCAA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
At At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia, Jesus died for our Cynthias.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts. Julia Love.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
And welcome back in the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, Jersey, as they call it in Guam, everybody. Oh, it feels good. It feels good to be good, too. Baylor's up 22-20 in set 1 of the round of 32 of the NCAA Volleyball National Championship Tournament. Say that 7 times fast against Pepperdine. It's 22-20 right now, Baylor on top. Loaded show, like I said on the before the break. Loaded show today for us. We've got high school coach of Miriam Dowda. Miriam Dowda is the 5-star women's basketball hooper who is going to play for Baylor next season, the Baylor women's basketball team next season. Her high school coach, Tom Hallmeyer, joins the show. So we got Tom Hallmeyer on the show, Doug Feinberg on the WNBA draft. He comes on at 12:05 because that's tonight. D.D. Richards and Dejanay Carrington learning where they're going to be drafted. Evan Miyakawa at 12:30 on Baylor men's basketball's run. And the Blonde Boys Power Hours at 1:05 today. Celebrity birthdays this day in sports history at 1:55. We've got clips. We're live right now. The phone line's open, too. We got phone lines open. We got clips here, though. I want to take a look at this from the parade the other day. Baylor released a parade highlight video, ? Check this out.
The Baylor Bears are home as national champions.
Baylor Nation has arrived to celebrate the first ever national championship in the history of the Baylor men's basketball program.
Yeah. For those that are listening, it is a parade going on. There are people walking across the street. For those that are on the app, there's Mamadou. There's Scott Drew, Mark Vidal, Maceo Teague. Jared Butler is holding up the national championship trophy at the parade. Now, Adam Flagler, Scott Drew. Yeah, for those that are listening on the app, this is the national championship parade. Mullet Bros, Maceo. Mark Patterson, he was on the show. Jonathan Chamochacho, who was also on our show. Jared Butler, Mark Vidal. That was neat. Highlight reel from the parade the other day. Pretty good stuff right there. On top of that, we've got this. So, Davion Mitchell declared for the NBA draft. He's going to be a top 10 draft pick. Most mock drafts have him at top 10 draft pick. By the way, Baylor volleyball just took set 1, so they lead 1-0. They advanced to the Sweet 16 with a win today against Pepperdine. But take a look at this. Davion Mitchell, a quick clip, his quick defensive highlight reel as he goes in the NBA draft. We don't have that. I was just kidding. I just wanted to get your hopes up. Davion Mitchell, who spoke in the parade, is going to the NBA draft, and he is going to be a top 10 pick, lottery pick. That's a lot of money that comes with that, and the prospect of playing right away. And here are some highlights of him defensively. Oh, great. It's just music again. I remember this game. Look at him out there. The perimeter defense, unbelievable.
Problem here is I have no idea if this is copyrighted music.
No way it is. There's got to be no copyrighted music. Look at that. Davion with the steal. Holy mess, man. This is against UW right here. Baylor was number 2 in the country back then. Not for long. They would end up being number 3. That's unbelievably stifling defense right there. Unbelievable. Look at that. Hand in the face. No good. Wow.
I wish there was the actual game audio.
Commentary. Yeah. Typically there's the game commentary. It's just not there today. It's just on both of the videos we've shown.
It's gotta be riveting to listen to.
It does. It's very good, like lo-fi music to get you, just kind of get you in it. Look at that defense. I forgot about the Kansas State game at Kansas State. Pretty sure I was in my car for that one and didn't get to watch it. That was an absolute beatdown. That's when Baylor just scored 45 points in the first 10 minutes and didn't. Got to do it. You got to take some time. It's on YouTube now. So like the condensed version, no commercials and whatnot. Yeah. It's on YouTube now. I'm no telling how long before it's taken down because, you know, CBS is very strict. Like they don't even let you play highlights. So, but yeah, check that out. Also, Baylor volleyball is now opening the second set, and they're wearing basketball jerseys. The assistant coaches are wearing basketball jerseys today. Is that for just good mojo, you think?
I have no idea.
Would you do that? Also, Baylor played Alcorn State this year. You know, those Alcorn State players are going to tell their kids that they played Baylor. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. They got dunked on by Baylor.
I got dunked on by the national champs.
Yeah. All right, so there's a lot to unpack today, including we're going to get to Miriam Dowda's high school coach. Got Scotty B, the Baylor King, says when Davion Mitchell committed to Baylor as a transfer, I made a post on Instagram about that. Davion liked the post and followed me on there ever since. So Davion follows Scotty B, the Baylor King. And now Davion's going to be an NBA player and possible first team, all rookie first team. I don't know how that goes. I'm not an NBA guy. But yeah, Davion Mitchell is gone. Did you know yesterday was Giving Day? That's relevant. Did you know yesterday was Giving Day at Baylor? You did not know yesterday was Giving Day.
I did.
You didn't know yesterday was Giving Day.
I got 50 million emails about it.
Yeah, what kind of rock are you living under if you didn't know?
Yeah, I did know.
I did too. Here's what we got.
Give, though.
When we come back after this break, we're going to be joined by Miriam Dowda's high school basketball coach. Miriam's a 5-star. She is she's the best post in the country. Coming in to play for Baylor next season, Kim Mulkey and the Lady Bears. She's going to be a legitimate piece to help this team get over that sweet Elite 8 hump that they couldn't pass this season. We're excited to get her here. I mean, you're missing D.D. Richards, DJ Carrington, Moon Urson still kind of up in the air, so we'll see how those play out. But this right here, folks, could be it is a huge pickup for Kim Mulkey and the Lady Bears. And let's see how well she's able to do next season. We're going to hear from her high school head coach, get an inside look at Miriam Dowda, the Lady Bears' next All-American star. Calling it right here, right now. This is Up Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32, the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2 seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCAA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? by not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference, and that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
The Jeep Celebration event at Allen Samuels has special pricing on the new 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude with total values up to $5,000.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference, and that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No capes.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32, the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2-seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCATA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
All right, welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den, folks. Happy Jersey today. It is Baylor volleyball game day. They're down 14-11 right now to Pepperdine on the old TV here in studio. Baylor in the round of 32 with the chance to play in the Sweet 16 on the line. The equestrian team at their intermission, number 8 seed in the nation. So there are 8 teams that make the equestrian national championship meet. It's at the Extraco Events Center in downtown Waco. 8 teams make it. Baylor was the number 8 seed to be able to punch their ticket into the postseason. They're taking on number 1 Auburn today. And most of the stuff right there, like it'd be a miracle if Baylor beat Auburn today, but they're on top 4-3 in equestrian right now at the half, so Baylor's got a legitimate shot to win that one, and the volleyball team up 1-0. They're down 14-12 in set number 2 right now. That's in Omaha, Nebraska, where Baylor volleyball is taking on Pepperdine right now in the round of 32. All right, we're joined now on Up Tempo by head coach Tom Halbmeyer. Coach, glad to have you on today to talk Miriam Dowda, one of the very best basketball players in the entire country, coming to play for Baylor, 5-star athlete. Before we get into her, though, let's talk a little bit about me and my Valonia ties. A Valonia boy somehow wound up in Waco. I'm sure you know where that is.
I sure do.
Coach, that makes both of us. We're now the only 2 people associated with this show today that know where Valonia, Arkansas is, but at least we have each other, right?
Exactly.
Now, Coach, thanks again for coming on today. Like I said, you've got one of the very best players in the country on your hands in Dowda, and she is just spectacular. I've seen highlights of her and watched her play in person. Now, to be at Baylor, just kind of give us a 30,000-foot view of her skills.
She has sky's the limit for this kid right here, because not only her skill set is very good, her IQ is very high. She can see one move, you demonstrate it, she picks it up, and she just executes, she just works on it. I think what separates herself from everybody else is her ability to be able to go ahead and be coached. She's the type of kid that she absorbs everything, and she has a motor. Not only she's a very good athlete, she has a high ceiling. Her shoulders, her head above her shoulders, she's wound so tight that she just gets better and better and better. And those are the type of players you want at Baylor. And I could not be more happy for this young lady to be able to go there, to go to a very good program and be able to be coached down there.
Coach, obviously one of the biggest parts of your job and any high school coach's job is making sure your players are recruited to a school that fits them well. So when Baylor gives you a call, when it's Kim Mulkey or her staff giving you a call on the phone saying, hey, what sets this kid apart, what was your first message to BU?
Her ability to be able to play in big games. There's not one game, any of the 50-50 games, which I call in terms that could go either way, every one of those games, and I could say this with the utmost honesty, is that she exceeded her season average. She has scored more points, she had more blocks, and she had more rebounds. Any of the 50-50 games that we played, she never had a subpar game against great competition. She always raised her ability to the next level, and she just has. And she broke a lot of times. She broke school records. And in those highlight games, she wasn't breaking school records, or she wasn't getting, a lot of her scoring against some of these other teams who are not very good. Matter of fact, those type of teams there, she performed worse because she's working on her. We kind of had a game within a game because that's when she started working on her passing. And there's several games this year that she had at least probably 8 or 9 games where she had 7 or 8 assists because she's just hitting our shooters. And she's the type of kid, whereas if another kid is shooting the ball well, without me even instructing her, she'll go ahead and try to headhunt those kids, trying to find those kids who are shooting the ball well and purposely trying to give extra shots for those kids because they're playing so well. Because she knows against big games, those kids don't give her the ball because she's going to need those touches.
Coach, you talked about her ability to play in big games. One of the other adjustments that we've seen a couple of players struggle with coming into Baylor is the speed of the game. You walk into a collegiate program that's top 5 with Kim Mulkey, and a lot of these players, it just takes them so long to adjust to fast-paced Division I level basketball. What gives you confidence that Miriam's game will adjust pretty quickly?
Just her maturity. I mean, she's a Nigerian kid, so early on in life wasn't the best for her. Her brother brought her over here to the States, and even though she's a number 1 post player in the nation, kind of give you an idea of this type of kid is, after practice, she said, hey, Coach, thank you. And it may be a practice where we got onto her pretty hard because she wasn't playing hard to her standards. Now, her going 50% is better than a lot of my kids who are going 90%. But by her standards, I mean, she wants that. She wants that coach. She wants to be able to be challenged. And I can tell you this, she's going to adjust to it because, Baylor is, like you said, Baylor is a very good program. I don't care how good you are, you're always going to have that adjustment, just the way they run things down there. And there's going to be a time there she's going to adjust to it. But the thing is, she loves that challenge. She knows she's going to a fantastic school, going to get a great education. And she just sees the overall big picture, but she knows what she needs to do to make the Baylor program better.
Coach, you talked about her mentality and just how grateful she is to be a part of your program, playing the game of basketball here in the States. There is something to the culture of Baylor University where a lot of these coaches here on staff, they recruit culture kids, is what they call them. Those that are going to fit in with that moralistic, high standard this university sets. Can you speak to Miriam's character and her ability to fit into that here at Baylor?
She has high character. Like I said before, she's very thankful. She's very fortunate where she's at. And let's not make no bones about it. The where she's at right now is because of Miriam. You can do all the coaching, do all the instruction. If the kid doesn't absorb it, apply it, then it's one of those situations where they're not going to get better. Miriam, she takes that. She takes that as a personal challenge. She takes it whereas she does not want to let her teammates down, and most importantly, her coaches down. And I can tell you this, with Coach Mulkey and Coach Messer, when they go ahead and start working with that kid, she's going to raise the bar. She's going to do whatever she can to make those coaches, because in Miriam's eyes, she don't want to fail anybody. She don't want to let anybody down. and she's willing to go ahead and make any kind of sacrifice that she needs to do to make the program better.
Coach, for you, when you first got Miriam into your program and saw her for the first time, I mean, when was it? When did it click for you that you thought, okay, not only is she good, but she's elite to the point where she could be a 5-star and now the #1 rated post in the country?
When I first saw her in the 6th grade. Actually, I got a phone call, and they said, hey, there's a girl down there at Arden and Elementary or junior middle school. She's 6'3". And, of course, you always hear that, so I walked down there. Across town, I walk in there, and the PE teacher, Coach Keith, he said, hey, here's Miriam. I walk in, I look at Miriam, and she was legit at that time. As a 6th grader, she was 6'3". And what impressed me most about her is just her size of her hands. And you see this big, tall girl, but she's still a 12-year-old. So when she finally got up to high school, of course, immediately, she could play 7th grade basketball, but she didn't play any 8th grade because I moved from 9th grade. She started every game here at Bentonville. And every year she'd gotten better and better. She broke school records every year. Either she broke her own school record or she broke someone else's school record every year she played here. And she owns the scoring, the rebounding, and the block shots. And the thing is when she has those type of records, it just goes she tries to find ways to challenge herself to make herself better when the competition wasn't really there for her. And so that's the motor I kind of talked about earlier on, whereas she finds ways to motivate herself, to make her mad, to kind of get to that next level. And I think that's when they challenge her down there, she's going to step up. She's going to step up and she's going to go ahead and do the best that she possibly can.
Coach, a lot of these players, too, 5-stars especially, if coaches are recruiting them for a certain skill set. Maybe they're an elite shot blocker, an elite scorer, they can shoot from the outside. For Miriam's game, where is it that she just excels, that sets her really above every other post in the country?
Her ability to be able to score and be able to see the floor in transition. Miriam, with her size, her being 6'5", she can handle the basketball. When you're on a 3-on-2 break, she makes the right decisions. She makes the right pass to the right shooter. We'll have drills and we'll look at it, whereas we'll have 2 kids out there. One can't throw it in the ocean. One could go ahead and score. She finds ways to go ahead and get the ball to the kid who can shoot. She never finds the kid, believe it or not, she never finds the kid who can't shoot. Okay, she leaves those kids alone, but she has that ability to be able to find shooters in the transition. And now she has created, probably last year and a half, now she has created like a little fadeaway where it makes it very, very difficult to be able to get a hand in her face. And she can score in traffic. Down here, everyone knows that or up here, everyone knows that she's a very good player. So a lot of times she gets officiated differently. So when she'll get hit once, twice, and it's the 3rd time she gets hit, by this time she's going up to score, and that's when they may call the foul. They may call a foul. But a lot of times they just let her play through it. And what she has done maturity-wise, she has learned to go ahead, hey, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get foul. Every time I touch it, I'm going to get hammered. I just got to play through it. And she just keeps her motion in check. And I can tell this 9 out of 10 times, she's going to just go make the right play in transition.
Coach, one of my favorite pictures that I've seen, we're looking through some to show up on the screen during the interview, her against Jersey Wolfenbarger. And you talked about those big games, those big-time athletes. Jersey, one of those popular names across high school basketball, not just in Arkansas, but in the country. Those two going at it one-on-one. I mean, are those the kind of matchups that are going to prepare her for Baylor University?
Absolutely, because what it is it's a challenge from the tip-off to the final horn it blows. And it's one of those deals that she takes a personal challenge on that. Whereas, it's not like she's going to trade baskets, or anything else like that. But what she's going to do, she's going to, 1, set those screens a little bit harder. 2, she's going to rebound, get to the rim a little bit stronger and a little more vocal in terms of demanding the basketball. And whereas in other games, or other not so big games, she'll let our teammates play through it. But she's that type of kid, whereas she's going to take a personal challenge on that and try to win it. And like I said, all the games that she played, she exceeded her rebounding, her assists, and her scoring in all those 50-50 games. And to me, that's a true leader because she's not afraid of the competition and she's going to do the best she can.
Coach, last couple of questions here for you. I know you've had plenty of players move on to play at the collegiate level, but now to have an athlete like Miriam going to Baylor University, inking the dotted line, and like you said, a kid from overseas. What is that sense of pride for you in knowing that she's going to have a home at Baylor University and be a Lady Bear at one of the best programs out there?
I'm really proud of her. I'm proud of her because not just the type of person she is, just how she handles stuff. Having Miriam up here for 4 years, a lot of college coaches will say that. Well, they have a lot of kids like that too for 4 years. By the time they're seniors, you're ready for those kids to go on. Because for 4 years, they they're tired. They're ready for the next chapter in life. Miriam is one of the few seniors that I've ever had that I wish she was back. Not because she's good. She's just a good kid. She makes everybody on the floor better. Off the floor, she makes everybody feel good about themselves because she's always laughing and kind of cutting up and just being who she is. She's to me, at heart, she's a true champion. She's the type of kid that she's truly blessed for whatever she's gotten in life because she has worked hard for it. And for me to be able to watch her down at Baylor, now it gives us a reason to go down to Waco, so my wife will love to go down and see Chip and Joanne. So now I'm going to go down there and see Miriam play. But it's just she's that type of character, that type of kid that you want in your program because, like you talked about a culture kid, hey, she's going to buy in. Whatever they're selling down there, she's going to buy in and she's going to relish it, and she's proud to be down with Baylor. And like I said, just be able to see her on TV and just be able to see her be able to be part of that program. That's I'm very proud of her.
Coach, I love it. I love it. Glad to know that we're getting a player that's not only great on the court, but has great culture mindset as well. Last question for you, our Bear Games question of the day that we do every day here. If you could have one restaurant, so for perspective here, like I'm going Craig's Barbecue in Duval's Bluff, Hazen, that area. I'm taking some Craig's with me down to Waco. Or David's Burgers. See, we don't get those around here. I wanted David's Burgers in Waco. If you could take one restaurant from your past anywhere and move it to where you are now, what's it going to be?
Oh, goodness. I'm gonna have to go with the Lead Hill Cafe. Lead Hill is the town I grew up in. It was a dive. It's still a dive. And you walk in and maybe hold 15 people. But I tell you what, those eggs, bacon and eggs they make in the morning, the toast, I could go right now. They put that slab of butter on there and put me to bed. I'm good.
Here we are again. Lead Hill, man. Boone County. We are the only two related to this show whatsoever today that have heard of Lead Hill, Arkansas. I can guarantee you that. Coach, thanks so much for coming on with us today.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolute pleasure. Again, that was Coach Todd Halbmeyer talking about Miriam Dowd, a 5-star women's basketball player that has signed with Kim Mulkey to play basketball for the Lady Bears. When we come back, Doug Feinberg joins the show to talk WNBA draft that is tonight. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32, the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2-seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCATA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to the water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 206,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having those points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Jersey, Now that we're a couple weeks removed from the NCAA tournament on the men's and women's side, everybody here getting more perspective from that unbelievable men's run in the national championship. But for you, just taking a look back at what you saw Arizona's just wild run through the tournament all the way to the championship game and the dominant performance by Stanford up to that point in the close game in the final. Just everything wrapped into one. What are your takeaways now, a couple weeks removed?
The right team won. What Stanford went through the course of the year, having been away from home for 10 weeks, having a really deep team, a Hall of Fame coach. they were the right team to win. They deserved it, and nothing against any other team that was in the tournament, but they went through more than anybody else, so to speak, with all the craziness of COVID this year, and they made it through. They mentally were tough enough to do it, and they won the championship. So that, to me, was the right thing. We had great games. I mean, listen, I covered the semifinal South Carolina-Stanford game that came down to 2 misses at the buzzer, and I covered the Stanford-Arizona championship game that came down to a miss at the buzzer. So could you ask for better basketball than that? I mean, there was one good men's game in the Final Four, so to speak, with the Zags knocking off UCLA on the shot in overtime. That was a heck of a shot by Suggs. But really, every game in the women's tournament was really exciting, at least in the last 3 in the Final Four of the championship, and then maybe some of the Elite Eight games, obviously.
Absolutely. And I know – I want to ask you this, Doug, and I feel like it happens every year. You get those games late in the women's tournament where the nation just turns its eyes to women's basketball and takes a break from everything else. I mean, i.e. the Oregon State men's game, I think it was an Elite Eight game, where nobody was watching that. Like, there were just no impressions on Twitter, Oregon State, Houston. Whereas the Baylor-UConn game, I mean, everybody in the country was talking about that game. What does that say about the evolution of women's basketball, even in the last decade or 5 years with social media becoming so popular?
You know, Drake, it's growing. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Social media, the ratings were up this year for the most part. Like, people are watching it, and it's exciting. Like, if you're a fan of basketball, you're going to want to see a game come down to the end, come down to the buzzer, have a chance for a team to win it on a last-second shot. That's what makes sports exciting. A 15-point blowout, even if you're a fan of that team, it's not exciting. You know, the game's over. It's basically done before the last few minutes. But women's basketball, I mean, listen, go back from the Morgan Williams shot to knock off UConn and end their 111-game winning streak or wherever the hell it was. You have the Arike Ogunbowale for Notre Dame hitting the back-to-back shots in the Final Four in the championship game to win it. I mean, those are 3 of the most iconic shots in sports, in basketball and college, men's or women's. So it's captured the audience. I mean, there were times that UConn was running through everybody or Tennessee was running through everybody. That wasn't as exciting, but you can't say you're a fan of basketball and not love the last 3 or 4 years of the women's tournament with so much excitement, so many things coming down to those last seconds.
And the Ogunbowale missed free throw. I thought you'd bring that up maybe. Add that in the mix with the Baylor National Championship. Some classic missed shots that are in the highlight reels. How about this, though? You got the WNBA draft tonight. Charlie Collier. Is she the undisputed number 1 pick? I mean, is that without – because, you know, Dallas obviously could go either way, 1 or 2. But is it Charlie Collier all the way for you?
All right, let me just finish off the last comment. I'm a positive guy. I'm a glass full guy, so I don't want to go with missed shots more than made shots. I'm not saying you're not a positive guy here and optimistic, but, you know, I hated seeing people miss. I hated Aaliyah Boston missing that putback. I hated McDonald's shot was not as easy, so to speak, with 3 girls on her to win it. Been a heck of a shot if it had gone in. But no, the Baylor's win a couple years ago was thrilling. They had a chance and it didn't go in, so that was thrilling from that standpoint. But to your point on Collier, she'll probably go number 1 tonight, but is she the best player in this draft when we talk 5 years from now about the class of 2021? I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold that she's going to be the one you go, wow, that was an unreal pick by Dallas. She is the reason that they're doing much better this year, or 5 years from now, I should say.
When you think about it then, those players that maybe aren't even in the mock first round, just in general, this draft class, who is that one player, maybe a couple players that you turn to and say, all right, maybe they won't go number 1 or even the top 3, but I got a lot of confidence in them?
I like Michaela Onyenwere of UCLA. She had a great tournament. She's a great player. She's a great person. And I think she'll be one that will probably surprise some people. She'll probably go in the 6, 7, 8, 9 range, depending on how things go. I think this is a weird draft. I don't think there's a set pecking order. I think that Collier will probably go first. The gal from Finland will go second, and then it's filling some needs in. But I think Michaela's 1. I think D.D. Richards. I mean, I'm not hometowning here with Baylor, but I think she's a player that people can use as a defensive stopper, but also can score a bit, and I think will be effective. And I think that she may go in the second round. And listen, this is a weird year. There's only probably about less than a dozen spots open for players to make. So someone may not make it this year, go play overseas, have a great overseas season, and come back and make a roster next year. So I think D.D. Richards is one that I think could go in the second round that could be actually a nice player, a nice pickup for a team, if not this year, the next couple of years.
Walk me through that, Doug, for those that don't understand maybe as well. Having 36 draft picks this year, but the roster spots in the WNBA, what does that look like for those that are draft aspirees tonight?
That's a great question. I mean, this is the hardest league to make of any professional sport because, A, there's no real minor league. So you can't, like in baseball, say, we'll put you in the minors or in the G League, in the NBA, if you're not good enough to be one of the major league players. And obviously NFL has a huge roster, so it's easier to make that. There's 144 spots maximum in the WNBA right now. So 12 per team, 12 teams. And because of salary, some teams only keep 11. So that's less than 144. And with guaranteed contracts and people on rookie contracts from previous years, there's really only about 9 to 12 open spots for players to make. 36 players get drafted tonight. So again, I'm not a math major, but 36 and 9 are not equal. So there can be a lot of people who are drafted tonight who will make training camp rosters and get great experience training for a couple of weeks and trying to make the team, and it'll make training camp competitive. But only, I think, 9 to 12 players will probably make rosters this year of the ones getting drafted tonight. And just, think about that. That's at least 2/3 or 3/4 that are not going to make a roster, yet they're still really good basketball players.
Along with that, you've got a couple of Baylor players that are right up there, first, second round draft picks tonight. You talked about it. You alluded to it. D.D. Richards. Maybe she'll have to go play overseas over the next year to be able to make a roster spot in the WNBA. Your confidence level, though, for a player like Dejanay Carrington, who's right there at the bottom of the first round, is that a lock to make a roster for next year? Or, again, is this still just so up in the air?
I would say lock is probably too strong a term. She's a great player, and she had a wonderful season at Baylor. It's just a numbers game. I just don't know if it depends who she gets drafted for, what they need. If a team needs a big more than a guard for that last spot or second to last spot on a roster, she may not make it, which is nothing she did wrong. It's just, again, the numbers game of there's a lot of really good players. There's only so many places for them.
Same thing, D.D. Richards, going overseas. What have you seen from these elite-level college players, which D.D. kind of got lost in the mix in an odd year? I know we've talked multiple times. We'll go down the list of Baylor players, get 4 deep, and then, there's D.D. Richards. It's just kind of how things have gone, especially the offense that Baylor was able to put up this past season. For D.D., though, you already said it. She's got the possibility of having a great WNBA career, but what does that look like? How normal is it for a player to go overseas and then come back pretty quickly and fill in a spot?
It's happened. The players, have not made it their first year, gone overseas, gotten stronger, gotten faster, gotten used to playing against other pros, and then come back and play. Listen, here's another little piece of this, which this year may help them. It's an Olympic year. So the foreign players or players playing for France, Japan, Australia, Spain, whoever, may not be coming over to play in the WNBA this year. So that might open up a few more spots for people to get a chance to make a team early on before the Olympic break, which may help. But there have been players. Allie Quigley, who plays for Chicago Sky, went to DePaul, I believe was cut a few times before she finally stuck with the roster in Chicago. So it has happened, and she's had a wonderful career for them. So it's not as slight if someone doesn't make a roster this year. It's just a numbers game, and there's so many talented players and so few spots.
Doug, when you talk about and I know it was a big topic in men's and women's basketball when you saw the gyms that both the tournaments had at their respective sites. Same thing here. The disparity in roster spots between professional leagues, what leads to that parity? What leads to this being so different on the men's and women's side? The fact that an elite player like a D.D. Richards or Dejanay Carrington might not even make a roster as a first or second round draft pick.
So part of it's just numbers game. There's only 12 teams. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert had a media call 2 days ago, and she said that they will start looking at expanding next year. She's always said, we have to get our house in order. We need the 12 teams right now to be fiscally responsible and financially viable. Once that happens, they'll look to expansion. Add a couple more teams, that opens up another dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen roster spots, makes it easier. There's only 12 teams. NBA has 31, 32?
Yeah.
So add in that numbers there, that's an extra 150, 250 players, plus the developmental league adds more players. So that's the thing. I mean, there's just, it's nothing with equity. It's just a financial situation where unless you're viable financially, why would you want to add teams that are just going to fail potentially?
Doug, along with that, and one of those things, a clarifying question, I'd love to know, and it seems like maybe it's just because it's already there. You talk about the numbers game, but you got third round, and you're going to have 12 players off the board in that round that say, I mean, how many of those have legitimate roster aspirations, especially when there are, the 24 players ahead of you? Why even have the third round? I mean, what is the point of being drafted in the third round tonight? Is there really a way to explain that or give clarity there?
Sure. There's three reasons I think of. I mean, listen, whether you make a roster or not, it's really cool to be drafted. I mean, 36 players every year get their name called, and you're drafted by a WNBA team. So there's that factor. You'll you'll be invited to training camp, so you'll have a chance to show yourself against other players and to see what you can do if you're good enough to make a roster in the WNBA. Or you'll push players. I mean, listen, if you're competing for a roster spot, you're going to be playing hard. So if you have a dozen players playing hard, you'll get the best of that group to make your roster. The third thing is the overseas component. If you're an overseas team, you hear that Drake is on the roster, invited to training camp, that gives you more value. That this kid's got a chance to be potentially pretty good and make a WNBA roster down the road. So you're a foreign team. All right, you know what? Let me give this kid a chance, knowing that the WNBA team was interested in him and drafted him.
Doug, does this now with players in the third round, and help me out with this as well. Say that I'm a player, I'm a senior, go to the WNBA draft, I get drafted with the 30th pick in the draft. At that point, can I return to my college, my collegiate roster, go back, play my COVID eligibility year, or do I have to stay pro in some form or fashion?
So, Drake, that's a great question. And to be honest, I don't know the full answer to it. But I can tell you that if you're not drafted, okay, so say you're not the 36, you have not signed with an agent, you've not done anything to ruin your amateurism, so you haven't taken money from somebody else to potentially represent you. You have 30 days to go back to school, to write a note to the athletic director saying, hey, I'd like to come back. I didn't get drafted, and you can do that. Again, this is a weird year because you have that option with that extra COVID year. In the past, your senior, you graduate, doesn't work out, you don't get drafted, you find something else to do with your life, or you go play internationally. But that is a good question. I don't believe so. I think if you're drafted, like that's sort of the same as having an agent. So you have to sort of honor that commitment to a team. I guess maybe you could go back, but that team would still own your rights so that they would have that pick for next year when you came back out of college. But that's a great question, which honestly, I do not know the full answer to.
Last question here for you, Doug, before we get to our Bear games. I love this. Very informational, because I know there's a lot of things that maybe our listeners and myself don't understand quite about the draft and the way that it all works, moving from college to professional on the women's side. With this, though, player like Moon Ursin, who we've talked about before as well, she is not projected to be drafted in the WNBA draft tonight. Players like that across the country, is this just even more incentive for them to come back and use that extra year?
I would think so. I mean, listen, you got a free year. Why not take it? Like, if you're wanted at your school, why not stay and play another year? I mean, there's 1,000 kids in the transfer portal. So there's people are moving schools for their 5th year or 6th year, whatever number year it is, plus the ones that are younger that are moving spots. Why not take it? I mean, if you enjoy school, you enjoy basketball, and you can play for another year for free, why not do that? So that's something I would consider. I mean, why not? If I could, I played ball at Columbia for 5 years. I was a walking NCAA violation. I played JV ball there, and I just love playing basketball. So why wouldn't you do that if you could for another year at a much higher level?
Well, I simply ask you that to have confidence that Moon Ursin does come back. So thank you for giving me a little glimpse of that right there, because we would love to have her, of course. Not just a great athlete on the court, but a great culture player as well. Doug, Bear Games question day-to-day, though. Mine, I'm an Arkansas native. I come from Central Arkansas. I grew up about the thickest accent that you can imagine. And moved to Waco, had to get a haircut, drop the accent, and a real job. But I miss daily the restaurants that I knew back home. I mean, so many of them that I wish I could take with me. From you, everywhere you've been, if you could take a restaurant from your past, move it to New York City, a block away from you can go every day, what restaurant are you going with?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, listen, we go way back to when I was a kid. I was a Friendly's guy. I don't know if you have Friendly's down in Arkansas or Texas. You've heard of it. It's basically a fast food-ish ice cream chain that's had the best ice cream in the world. When I was a kid, I went to summer camp. We played intercollegiate or inter-camp sports games. We go to Friendly's afterwards to get Reese's Pieces sundae, which is just a sundae with Reese's Pieces on top of it. So you can't go wrong with that. So that's what I would want to move next to my apartment or a block away, although I might have to start working out more because I would probably add a lot of weight if I had a Reese's Pieces sundae every day.
Friendlies, lock it in. Doug Feinberg, thank you so much for joining the show today, talking WNBA draft and a recap of the way the tournament ended up this season. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, my friend. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Absolutely. Again, that was Doug Feinberg, the AP women's basketball writer with the AP, talking women's basketball, not just across the board, but also with Baylor and the WNBA draft prospects in Dejanay Carrington and D.D. Richards, who will surely go off the board tonight. All right, I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong Sims, and we come back. How about a little bit of Evan Miyakawa action? Evan Mia joins the show. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32, the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2 seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCATA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, Don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red meat potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots. No, go find your own. Come on, give me some of your tots. No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Brian, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. It is championship day, really. I mean, there's so much going on, not just with Baylor men's basketball winning the national championship, but also with volleyball in the round of 32 right now. They're down 2-1 to Pepperdine. And then equestrian, at last check, equestrian was on top of Auburn, which would be the greatest upset in equestrian history. You guys heard it here first. But now we have Evan Miyakawa joining the show. Evan, for the first time since Baylor won a national championship, we're getting to hear from you. Pleasure having you on.
I'm so excited to be here. It's still amazing to say that the Baylor Bears are national champions. I could not be happier. So let's get down to it.
Oh my goodness. It never gets old. I'm sure it'll never get old. It can't. Evan, though, here's one of the questions. The first thing I want to ask you, this is the second the game ended, is what I wanted to ask you. Why, in comparison, these two teams, why did every analyst favor Gonzaga so heavily? What was the deal that made this game so lopsided in everyone's mind?
I think there's two main reasons. I've thought about this a lot because I do this myself, and I also had Gonzaga favored to win this game. I think the two reasons, one, it's a weird season, and both these teams did a really good job scheduling non-conference games to try and play teams from other conferences. But even with that being said, it was just harder to evaluate teams, especially how they compared to other conferences this year, just due to the lack of non-conference games and game cancellations and all that stuff. So I don't think it helped Baylor that they ended up having, less games in the season than Gonzaga. There were less opportunities for them to show how good they were. And I think the second reason, and this might be even more obvious, is that, Baylor had multiple games that were severely impacted by COVID pause. After that COVID pause, they had a harder drop in performance after their pause than any other team in the country this year. That's analytically proven. So when you actually take out those games, this game was predicted to be more or less a coin flip. But most websites, mine included, look at the whole body of work during the season. And so that's why Gonzaga was favored. I think if you take out those games, maybe allow Baylor to play them without that pause, and maybe they get to play a few more of those canceled games, it might look different.
Evan, obviously, I think if you ask Coach Drew or anybody in that program, you said, hey, would you have preferred the season without the COVID pause, it'd be an obvious yes. That said, is there any way that 3-week pause ended up being to Baylor's benefit?
I definitely think it built their resiliency, no question. And even some of those, the 2 games that they lost, I think in some ways, losing games can help you really recenter yourself, figure out what you need to work on. I think that Oklahoma State game in particular, I don't necessarily think that was affected by COVID for Baylor because it had been so far after that. But even so, they started out that game, just didn't really seem quite up to the task. And Oklahoma State played a very similar style in transition to how Gonzaga likes to beat opponents. They kept beating Baylor in transition in that game. And I think Baylor seeing that, having to wake up to it, taking the L there and getting to then reevaluate practice leading up to the tournament, I think it really prepared them for that whole tournament run that they had and ultimately the game plan that they ended up using against Gonzaga. So I do think though the COVID pause, having to kind of build themselves back up from the bottom, and even a couple of the 2 losses that they had, I think probably helped them in their mindset to be more ready for this.
Evan, I got to be there for the national championship game, once in a lifetime experience up in the rafters. I mean, I was sitting on the roof basically. But I just remember that first 2 minutes, and I rewatched the game a couple of nights ago, and the same reaction, like hands on head. Just what is going on? Is that kind of how you were watching the game in the first few minutes?
Yes, absolutely. That was my mentality the entire game. It was almost a surreal experience because, coming off of Gonzaga's thrilling win against UCLA, that's kind of what I was expecting in this game. And I was expecting for it never to be taken for granted until the final buzzer went. And so the whole game, it was kind of like, I was thinking, is this even real? And I think in that way, sort of accepting this win and realizing what had happened was sort of more like a slow burn for me than like an instant moment, because even at the end of the game, it was like, well, no one saw this coming. And I don't think it was really even till the next day when I started to watch the game again that it really sunk in how dominant and how deserving Baylor was to win this game. So it was definitely a weird and unexpected outcome.
Evan, I don't know if you have it pulled up in front of you. I don't. But I'll tell you, Mark Vital, 8 offensive boards. The disparity on the offensive glass for Baylor, the Bears starting 5 for 5 from 3. There are stats across the board you can look at and say, okay, this is where Baylor won the game. For you, from a numbers standpoint, what do you see and say, man, this was it. This is why Baylor won numbers-wise?
I don't think there's one reason, but the factor that I thought was the most important coming into this game, and I think is still what ended up winning the game for them and in clinching the game and holding on to it, was Baylor's depth. And I think we saw that from the moment that Jalen Suggs picked up his second foul and had to go sit, and Gonzaga was down to like a 6-man rotation. And Baylor had both of their big guys go into foul trouble with one of them fouling out, and they were still able to comfortably win that game. I don't think there's another team in the country that can play as aggressively against Gonzaga and take the fouls that they did and still put them away with ease. I mean, that to me was a huge deal for Baylor coming into this game. The depth they had coming off their bench with Chama Chachua and Matthew Meyer and Adam Flagler, those 3 guys step in, and like Coach Drew has said, this is more like an 8-man starting rotation rather than a 5 and then your bench. So I think to me, that's the big thing that really kept Baylor firmly in control of this game when it could have easily turned the other direction, was just how good they are 1 through 8 and the ability to throw guys and keep their game plan no matter what was going on.
Evan, I'm going to insert my sports basketball thoughts and opinions here for a second. The way that I see it, full body of work, there are plenty of teams that win national championships that maybe weren't the best team in college basketball. That's what happens in March Madness. UConn wins a national championship, I think Kevin Ollie 2014, somewhere in there. That UConn team, 7-game series, probably loses to most of the top 10 schools in the country that year. That just is the way that it is. That said, some years you get a team on top where you say, okay, that full body of work again, best team in college basketball. Do you think that's Baylor's case this season?
I absolutely do. And it's unfortunate that a lot of the analytics won't reflect that. Most of them, including mine, have Gonzaga number 1. And as I said before, that's really just because of, you could really chalk that up to Baylor's COVID pause, and all those games are still included. And that's something that we're probably never going to deal with in the same way in another season. So, but with that being said, I mean, the way that Baylor won this game and dominated Gonzaga shows that they are the best team in the country. Now, you could make an argument that there was a 7-game series that it would be close, But I think the fact, if you were to replay this game again and again without having had this first game, I think Baylor always wins, because I don't think Gonzaga was ready for what they face. And I think they would have to make a lot of adjustments after game one to be able to play at a more even playing field. So in that regard, I think Baylor just absolutely showed that they were no question the best team this year. And I think deserve to be in discussion of one of the best teams in the last 20 years, without a doubt.
We asked Evan Jordan Sperber, who is the editor, the chief. He's the Hoop Vision guy. We asked him, did this prove, because it was Baylor's offense at times that kept them. Gonzaga went on a 15-minute stretch where their offense was clicking. They were scoring at will. Baylor was just matching it. So in the end, when you look at the numbers and the game in general, does this game prove that defense wins championships, or is it still the ability to score that's going to make teams, that's going to put teams over the hump in different years?
I think from an analytical perspective, we are seeing more and more of the focus be on offense. And to me, this is actually something I've been suspecting for a while. I think in general, if you have guys who can go get a bucket, and you often see that most in a one-on-one situation, which Baylor is really, really good at, no matter if you have the best defender in the country on that person, if you have evenly matched offensive and defensive players, the offensive player can usually get what they want. And so I think defense is extremely important, and I don't think we've seen many national championships that are champion teams that are deficient in defense. But I do think at the end of the day, a really good offense can often trump a really good defense. And I think Baylor had both going for them. And ultimately, I think their offense was what proved the difference in this game and put Gonzaga beyond reach.
Outside of that, we just mentioned offense, defense, man. There was a point in the game, somebody tweeted and said, well, yeah, Baylor's winning. They've got 9 guys on the defensive side of the ball right now. I mean, that's just what it looked like. Every time Gonzaga would set a ball screen, there were 3 different defenders right there and nobody open. It was just a wild display of defense for Baylor. Just what did you see on the defensive side of the ball?
I think Baylor played defense against Gonzaga in a way that no other team this year did. They were the aggressor. And I think Gonzaga is really intimidating on the offensive end. What they did all season, the way that they ran their offense in such a fluid way and got so many easy looks at the basket, open looks from 3, it was unmatched. And I think most teams in their conference just kind of sat on the back foot and tried to just do their best to contain them. Baylor didn't do that. They knew they could take Gonzaga. They could force them into mistakes. They could be aggressive on defense and recover. And I think that's not something Gonzaga had seen all year. And I think that's what ended up disrupting them so much. So I think that was huge for Baylor. They were obviously committed 100% physically from the get-go. They were, snatching boards and they were just pressuring them in bad situations. And Gonzaga wasn't able to run their offense in the way that they normally did against defenses that just sort of let them get what they wanted.
Evan, Fox just announced Scott Drew as their coach of the year in college basketball. What is your assessment of the job that Coach Drew did just looking at this year's work?
I think the part to me that is the most impressive about what he's done is the way that he has built this roster, and not just in amassing the talent that he has, but in getting the pieces and getting them to work together in such a fluid way. I remember 2 years ago, I was talking to Jason Maddox, who's a graduate assistant and the main analytics guy for Baylor's basketball team. And this was when Davion Mitchell and Maceo Teague were sitting there 1 year out. And I'd never heard of these guys. And he said, hey, we just made the tournament. We're playing Syracuse in a day. But next year, we've got these 2 guys who are waiting in the wings who are going to be incredible. They're putting in so much work. And then the same thing happened this last year with Adam Flagler. And now all these pieces are here together. And all of these guys were not, huge recruited, high 5-star McDonald's All-American type pieces. And yet Scott Drew and the staff were able to identify these guys and build this cohesive team and ultimately be able to run this modern style of offense and this aggressive style of defense that's really, really hard to match. So to me, that's the most impressive part of all of this.
Evan, I want to now take a look at away from the full body of work and down to individual players, whether it be Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, even Matthew Myers has been in the conversation as he's declared for the NBA draft. But Davion Mitchell, we'll start right there with him declaring. What do you see from him and really looking forward, what is his total draft or NBA prospect?
I don't claim to be a draft expert by any means, and I certainly would love to get more into kind of projecting based on statistics where guys are most likely to land. But the things that stuck out to me from an eye perspective this year about Davion Mitchell is just his quickness, his foot speed, both on offense and defense. He can stay in front of anybody. His recovery speed is incredible. And then on the offensive end, his agility and his movement, you just can't know where he's going to go. And, I looked at one of those drives that he had against Arkansas where he just totally creamed the guy, and his body was like parallel to the floor as he was driving forward. Just the amount of momentum he gains there was incredible. And I've seen a lot of draft boards have him in the lottery now after his performance. I think that's really well deserved. So, I'm really happy for him, and I think, he could have a really, really bright NBA future.
Along with that, Jared Butler, another one of those guys that can shoot the lights out of the basketball and had a really, whoa, I had pop up. Somebody can shoot the lights out of the basketball and had a really good season this last year, tournament MVP. What do you see out of him from a professional prospect? I mean, do you like his chances to be solid in the league?
I will use my own analytics to back this up here. My metric called Bayesian Performance Rating, which tries to measure each player's impact for their team on both ends of the floor. My top two players after this season, Jalen Suggs, number one from Gonzaga, and he's, projected to be a top 3 pick. I think he's the best player in this draft class. Second is Jared Butler from Baylor. After that big game, he rose up to second. And I think that alone speaks volumes. My metric has shown to be a really good predictor of future success. And certainly, it's not just the eye test. It's not just the individual stats. It's also looking at the whole picture. And ultimately, was that player really elevating their team to the next level when he was on the floor? And Jared just stacks up really, really well on both ends of the floor in terms of that. So based on that alone, I think he's going to be a really solid player in the NBA, and I hope he does really well.
Your thoughts, Evan, on Matthew Mayer declaring for the NBA draft? I mean, are we actually going to see him take this seriously, or are you confident we'll have him in a Baylor jersey again next season?
I've always thought that Matthew Mayer has a legit NBA future, and I think just his skills, his athleticism, and his height. I mean, he plays like a player who's 3 inches shorter than he is in terms of his quickness and the way that he plays. But then his height allows him to be, pretty much shoot from anywhere on the court and not be bothered by it, to take guys on the dribble and get, easy finishes at the bucket. So I've always been really convinced about what he could bring at the next level. With that being said, I think he should come back because he could potentially be Baylor's biggest scorer next year, playing as a starter and finally get his chance that he's been waiting so patiently for. And now with the recognition that Baylor has, he's probably going to be the number 1 player on people's scouting reports next year. And I think for that reason alone, it will, automatically raise his draft stock. He performed really well this year in limited minutes, but I think this is a great opportunity for him to show more of what he's got. So I think it's great that he's, entering the draft without taking an agent, just kind of considering his options, seeing where his stock is. That I think he'll come back and then be even that much better next year.
Can't get rid of the mullet bro. Can't get rid of half of the mullet bros. He's got to come back, him and Jackson Moffitt both. Evan, along with that, you got a guy like Jeremy Sohan coming in, Langston Love, Kendall Brown, those three. Ty Washington could be another one you add to that mix. Matthew Mayer, Adam Flagler, Dane Danger, Jordan Turner. I mean, you can go down the list of guys, and it's so extensive. Jonathan Chamachachua, Flo Thamba. This team going into next season, I know it's way too early, but do you like what this squad has right now?
Yeah, I think you could safely pencil them in right now as a top 20 squad, at a bare minimum. I certainly think this team has a potential again to challenge for a Big 12 title, to be one of the best teams in the nation. Again, there's so much stuff that needs to sort out in terms of the transfer portal and all of that stuff. Obviously draft decisions matter and whatnot. But if you're talking about those guys that you listed coming back, I think it's definitely going to be a bit of a drop just because of how many guys Baylor had who could have entered the draft last year who stayed, and now are going to be gone this year. So that's a big piece for them. But I certainly think this is not going to be a rebuilding year in any sense. They've got new fresh blood coming in, and you never know when you get good freshmen in, and the way that Scott Drew coaches, anything could happen. So I feel really good about their chances. It will still be a very fun team to watch. Arguably could be, in some ways even more entertaining with a guy like Matthew Mayer suddenly becoming, their main scorer, and just how entertaining he is, playing. And I'm really excited for guys like Flagler and Chamachachua to get more minutes, not to mention all these freshmen who are going to be really good contributors. So it will be a fun year.
Evan, For my last question, I want to take you away from all the analytics, which I know you run. I mean, evanmia.com. Come on, the Mia poll. Take away all that, and just from a personal standpoint, being a Baylor Bear right now, as you are taking classes at Baylor and seeing your school win a national championship, what was that like for you personally?
It was amazing. And I honestly I don't think really anyone could have predicted this to happen, 2-3 years ago. And it's so obvious how deserving they are. And I really, really wish I was in Waco for this. I'm in Indiana right now. And so, I didn't get the chance to go to the parade or anything like that, which is really, a bummer. But it's just been so great. And I think one of the best things that I've seen about this as well, and this is something that I share personally, is, I love it when these guys are committed to so much more than just basketball. When they really represent what Baylor's about, being about giving glory to God and just thanking him for every opportunity. And they have done that so much. It's been so amazing. So I'm just really thankful to the Lord that they've been able to kind of take that opportunity and give credit where it's due. And so to that degree as well, I think that really resonates with me personally. So I just love seeing all of that. And could not be more happier. I've ordered some Baylor National Championship gear. It's getting here soon, so I'm excited.
I love it. We're all celebrating here still, even almost 2 weeks later. Evan, our Bear Games question of the day today. I'm an Arkansas native, and there are plenty of restaurants that I would love to move from Central Arkansas out to Waco. I miss them. I miss them today specifically. I don't know why. That's the question, though. If you could take one restaurant from maybe your childhood or a place you used to live and move it a block down from you, what would it be?
Oh, this is so easy for me. I spent 3 years living in Thailand in high school because my parents were missionaries, so I went to school there. And the one thing I miss more than anything is being able to get really good street vendor Thai food. And you can get a great meal for $1. So if you're really hungry, you can get 2 meals. So I have a really hard time going to any Thai restaurant now and paying over $10 for the same thing that I could get for $1. So if I had to pick, that would be what my pick.
Lock it in. Some Thai food. Wow. Evan Miyakawa from left field right there, but I'll accept it. I will accept it. Thank you so much for coming on the show as always. Evan, love to get your input, and especially after a Baylor National Championship.
Yep. Thank you for having me on. This is always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Again, that was Evan Miyakawa, evanmia.com, the Mia poll. Folks, you can go and find all of his stuff, again, at evanmia.com or Evan Mia on Twitter. He is one of the up-and-coming rising stars in basketball analytics, whether it be on social media or via his website, without a doubt. Tell you what, when we come back, J.D. Pickell joins the show for the Blonde Boys Power Hour. We're going to talk some more college basketball from the Baylor perspective. Right now, Lady Bears are up 20-15 in volleyball, so we'll see if they can close it. They're down 2-1 to Pepperdine right now. And now 20-16. So hopefully they can close that out, take it to a 5th set, and stay alive in this tournament. Still getting updates across equestrian, trying to keep up with those ladies as well as they're in action in postseason play against Auburn in round 1. They were up at intermission on top of the 1 seed overall Auburn. That would be a huge upset if Baylor's able to hold on for that one. All right, I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong Sims. When we come back, J.D. Pickell joins the show for the Blonde Boys Power Hour. We're going to open the phone lines. You can call us at 254-339-1122 or text us, 254-339-1122. Both of those will be open, and you can reach out to us. Again, Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32, the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2 seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCAA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing.
And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside J.D. Pickell today. It's the last hour of the show. It's the 1:01 o'clock, so I'm sitting back for a second. JD's slamming an energy drink.
I'm trying to match your tempo. It's already up, I can tell. I'm trying to get on the Drake Toll tempo. You know what I'm saying?
I just leaned back in my chair.
I know, but you did it with such an up-tempo way about you.
The flip,
you
man.
know?
You'd make no sense. Why are you the way that you are?
Genetics.
I hate so much. I hate so much about the things you choose to be.
It's a love relationship.
Baylor intermission in Equestrian was on top of Auburn 4-3.
Do they have intermission? They actually call it intermission?
I don't know what they call it. Someone texted me and somebody said maybe it's halftime. I think they have a break. I don't know what they call the break, though.
What if they called it intermission? That'd be cool.
So, I mean, yeah, that's like a pretty standard word for a break in the middle of things.
But not for sports.
I woke up today. Really? Well, okay. You know? Like I chose violence. I woke up and chose violence.
Hey, it's okay, man. I love it.
Baylor volleyball is up 23-22 on Pepperdine. Pepperdine leads the match 2-1 overall. So Baylor's got to put up 2 more points right here. If they can do that, they will force a 5th set. And at that point, then they'll have a chance to try to win the 5th set. And if they do that, they move to the Sweet 16.
Waves, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Pepperdine Waves. Here's a big block. Yes! Woo! All right, Baylor's up 24-22.
Who's your daddy?
Baylor. Very interesting way to pose that. Very interesting way to celebrate a volleyball point. Mm-hmm. You and I had a documentary night last night.
I know, man. It was fun.
That was really neat.
It was a great one.
We watched Disgrace. For the folks at home, if you haven't watched Disgraced, you are missing out.
It was terrifying. I walked back home after that. All the lights are off in my house. I turned on the lights, turned on worship music. I was like,
Really?
I was like, dude, this is eerie. Because the whole thing takes place legitimately your backyard.
Yeah.
Legitimately, you're looking around, you're like, okay, I know where that is. I know that's Old Farrell.
Yeah.
You said it great. You're like, a parade happened on that street. What would have been yesterday, 2 days ago now.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, it's a movie taking place where you live, which is just so strange.
And an eerie movie.
It's such an eerie movie.
It's an eerie movie.
So many creepy things about it.
I mean, if I didn't know the full story, until I watched Disgrace. Mm-hmm. I think it takes, the 03 Dave Bliss scandal takes a lot of unpacking, and the fact that you get that in the Disgrace documentary is really... Sorry, Baylor.
No, you're
distracted
good.
By Baylor
You're good.
volleyball.
I love it.
It's really solid to have it all kind of compact into where, hey, I can watch right here, right now, like what exactly happened.
Yeah, it's beautiful because I think I had only seen a Wikipedia search, and so the Wikipedia headline is super brief. I was telling you last night they could probably do a 10-hour each, 10 episode, 1 hour a piece.
That would be
series.
10 hours.
That would be, that depends on how you count it.
That's how that goes.
That's 10 hours right there. But, I mean, there's so much depth to it to where it's like you couldn't possibly cover all of it in a Wikipedia post. There's so much that needs to be unpacked. And I think there was even more that you could have unpacked in the documentary that would have fit outside of the hour and a half that they gave it. But really, really good, really informative, and to watch it after the national championship game gave so much levity to that.
Oh, yeah, I cried. I had chills. I mean, it's like you tear up and you're like, you at multiple points just like, what?
Dude, yeah, I was a wreck.
What?
And that was the second time you saw it, right? That was
It's the second time I saw it. But it was just as many chills. Just as many chills.
Man.
It was flipping unbelievable. Yeah. I could not recommend it more. Armstrong was not there to watch it. Armstrong did not watch it with us. Yeah. But folks at home, got to get out there, got to watch Disgraced on Showtime about the Dave Bliss scandal. I just don't think folks get like a complete grasp on everything that happened, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to.
It really is hard to, especially if you lived it and you're still like kind of piecing it together as it happened. I mean, when you get the actual like, hey, here's what went down, concise, like couple of hours, just sit down and see it all, it's wild.
Yeah. I was glad that I watched it with you and it was your second time. So like there were parts where it would pause during the movie, like I take a bathroom break, you get popcorn, and I'm like, wait. So but why did he then, so he's still coaching? How is he not in prison?
They pan the camera to Dave Bliss and he's in a Southwest Christian t-shirt and you're like, hold on. Somebody hold the phone. Did he just say what he just said? Like that, he said that now for the documentary.
Yes. There were so many times where I was like, Drake, so explain this to me again. Like explain this to me like I'm 5. How is he still?
He exists.
How is he not have a job and he does? And then apparently we looked it up afterwards. He resigned 3 days after that documentary aired. What do you think that conversation was like? They called him probably when it came out, like, yeah, hey, let's talk on Monday. We gotta figure out how we're gonna do this thing going forward.
Because how they have the university president from Southwestern Christian in the documentary, like defending Dave Bliss, and then next camera shot, they do an interview with Dave Bliss, and Bliss is like, cameras aren't on, right? And then just goes on this rant where you're like, no, stop. So the president rewatched the documentary and he's like, yeah, I like it. I'm saying good things about Dave, and then cuts. Oh no, that's not good. We're going to have to do something about that.
Hey, put an ad out. We're going to need a new head basketball coach. Yeah. Stat.
Yeah, at Southwestern Christian in Oklahoma. Because, I mean, they're really, everybody, that's a dream job for most folks.
Yeah. I didn't get that job. I applied, didn't get it.
Really? 254-339-1122, the Impact Health Labs caller line. The phone line is open. 254-339-1122. Yeah, man, just a crazy. Also, Baylor just won the set. We're going to 5.
Let's go, babe. You're going to 5. We're going to 5 now. Come on now.
Crazy documentary, and I'm telling you what, yeah, the fact that he still had a job, that he got a job at a high school a couple days later. I'm guessing the high school AD had not seen the documentary.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, hey, do you know what literally just happened?
Yeah. Also, it's in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Sin City. So they probably we're on the same page, baby. Green and blank game would be lethal today. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why the stakes go down with a high school coach because you're still working with kids. It's like, oh, you made children. You made bad choices with adults. Here's our kids at the most formative time in their life. Go ahead and tell them what to do. Go be a role model for them. Be a father figure for these kids right now at their private high school.
More impressionable.
Yes, way more. Oh, yeah.
I mean, develop these children. Aha.
You have even more control. Because, I mean, if you were to tell a high school kid to lie, probably is going to go, I'm going to do it. I mean.
The tapes that Abar Rouse recorded will floor you.
Yeah.
They will floor you. You'll be like, did he just say that? Are these real words coming out of a human being's mouth? And then, worse so than that, is the fact that they're doing a live interview for the documentary, and the things that are coming out of Dave Bliss's mouth, you're like, wait a second, these aren't like secretly recorded tapes. He's saying this into a camera.
It was amazing.
Bonkers.
It was actually amazing. Even his tone was like so sinister, so evil. He's like, yeah, and then he comes out with this tray of drugs. First of all, I don't pretend to be someone who's like has a lot of experience with doing drugs, but I would imagine it's not buffet style. Yeah. He comes out with this tray of drugs,
and it's got mushrooms.
And just like, what?
Insert drug here.
Yeah, he's just thinking of every drug he's ever heard of, and I don't know, man.
He's got wads of cash. Like, what's going on?
What's the scene from The Office where Ryan's like, I don't think Michael's ever done drugs. I don't think anyone's ever offered him.
Because Michael's like, it's like doing coke, and he's like, how can you say that when you've never done coke? That's exactly what it is.
I don't think Dave Bliss was ever offered drugs by anybody. Not that that's something to write home about or brag about, but all that's to say, the fact that it was so calculated and he was getting excited about telling this lie, he's like, yeah, then we're out of the woods. Then it became a game to him.
Yeah.
It became a strategy to him. And it's just so, it makes you sick. It really does make you sick.
Folks at home, you guys got to watch that. You guys got to go watch the Showtime documentary Disgraced, because wow, to know from that, and now let's be positive, to Scott Drew.
Yes.
What?
Boom. It's amazing. It's amazing to go from Dave Bliss, who is one of the most evil people I think I've ever seen interviewed. And then you see Scott Drew, who's probably the nicest person you've ever seen interviewed.
Oh my gosh.
Like, he's just like happy-go-lucky. I mean, we saw him at the parade, and it was just like, just happiness in a person. Like, if happiness were to be like described as a person, it would be Scott Drew.
There should never be a time where folks aren't like wholly thankful that Scott Drew is at Baylor.
Yes.
Because the dark things that have happened at Baylor before, like Scott Drew is such a bright light for the university.
Completely.
And so good.
I'm kind of, I get why they asked him to be in the documentary, and like they had the whole list of declined interviews. But if you're Scott Drew, why would you do that documentary? Like, what are you going to say? Yeah, I don't know. I got here when they were being pretty wild, and I built us into a national champion.
Really tough.
Like what is he going to gain from that? What does the documentary gain from that?
Tough not to pin yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
like you don't want to be associated with that.
When you're, Abar Rouse is like, do I need an attorney? Well, not if you're innocent.
Yeah. Like, I guess.
Yikes.
What does that even mean?
Same thing for Scott Drew in the situation. It's like, hey, we're going to interview you about this documentary coming up. It's like, I mean, come on, he's past that. He wasn't a part of that.
He should be past that. Yeah, I mean, he came in to be past that.
Right.
To take him past that.
He got Baylor past that to win a national championship.
Yeah.
Putting that in perspective of what the last week and a half have been like take a look at Harvey Thomas, and, you know, obviously they talked about Dottie and those guys that were on the team, and Matt Samon's an exception. Matt Samon's, spectacular. But taking a look at that in itself, and then factoring in where Baylor is now with Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell and Maceo Teague, like the fact that now your team representatives are that in comparison to what it was in 03.
It's amazing.
The culture in general. Like Scott Drew recruits culture players.
He recruits culture players. He instills culture into his players. Like, it literally is the most anti-Dave Bliss Baylor program.
Yeah, it's the inverse.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a great word. It completely is the inverse of what Dave Bliss did at Baylor. And so my only regret is having not seen it sooner, closer to that. Like, I wish I had watched it much sooner.
The night before the championship?
The night before the championship, during the tournament. Like, that would have just made the whole thing. It still makes it very special, but I think that would have added more gravity to the situation, because not only does the story not have the same impact without that part of it, but also that story, like the 2021, the 2020-21 season? I don't even know how you would coin it, but the championship season doesn't even happen without what happened there, without Abar Roos, without Dave Bliss resigning. Like, all of these things are what entered Scott Drew into the fray.
And it's wild that is what it took to get a guy like Scott Drew. But not only that, Mac Rhodes, Linda Livingstone, that's the administration now representing Baylor, and I have just such full confidence in them, a whole confidence in that.
Yeah.
To know where Baylor has come from. Like, now you have the Christian mission that Baylor puts out, and they back it up. There's so much pride that I have in Baylor after watching that documentary, not in what Baylor was, but what Baylor has become now and what Baylor can say confidently.
Yeah. And I think that documentary makes Baylor look in a lot of ways really fake. And like you said it perfectly, Mac Rhodes, Linda Livingstone, the people that just are the most authentic depiction of what Baylor is and what they claim Baylor to be, for them to just embody that so wholeheartedly and in such a real way is so refreshing. And it's almost crazy to watch it back, be like, that was Baylor?
Yeah.
Like, that was what Baylor was in 2003? So I don't blame that we don't want to talk about that, but I think that is very important to where we are now and the story that we're living right now.
Got to talk about it, man. Like, you got to talk about that stuff and have that in the mix of, granted, yes, why are we talking about that? It's old news, but that's part of history that's got to be in there. Otherwise, you're lost on what this championship truly means to Baylor. We got Joe Frazier on the caller line. Joe Frazier. We got not only Joe Frazier on the caller line, but volleyball at 4-4 right now in the fifth set against Pepperdine. Joe, talk to us, my man. Good to hear from you as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Hopefully these ladies will pull out this volleyball victory and keep on moving, keep that championship spirit going. But no, I was going to bring up, we're talking about Scott Drew and Dave Bliss and all this kind of stuff. If you go back and look at Baylor's history over since I believe it was like 1946 when they started taking stats and doing this, moving and shaking as far as numbers goes. The Baylor has had roughly about 19 players since that time go into the NBA. And obviously they've all somewhat been successful. But out of those 19 players, 12 of them were Scott Drew's guys.
Wow.
That's
Not
crazy.
to mention his first guy actually went to the NBA in 2005.
Interesting.
So that was only 2 years removed.
That's quick. That's quick.
They just got scholarships back.
That's huge.
Wow.
And he's playing with walk-ons for the majority of those first couple of years.
What do they call them again?
The leftovers?
The leftovers.
Leftovers.
Matt Seaman.
And he had a guy go to the NBA in 2005.
That's unbelievable. And compare that to before that, back up to 1946, they'd had what? That would be then 7 players go to the NBA?
That's it.
Wow. And then Scott Drew had 1 in 05. My thing is Baylor went to the Final Four in 1950, national championship in 50, I believe it was, and then did not go back to the NCAA tournament until 1988, and then did not go back to the NCAA tournament again until 2008. That in itself is an unbelievable. Those numbers are just astronomical. You can't comprehend the gap in years between those numbers.
It really is just unbelievable. And going back to the whole conversation about NBA players, we're going to have 2 first-round draft picks this year.
Yeah.
Potentially a third one next year if Matt Meyer chooses to come back and play another season in Waco. It's amazing. And it's almost, I think that's what is so awesome about watching the documentary back now, is this is like effectively the happy ending to that story. I mean, don't get me wrong, everything that happened was tragic and is horrific and deserves the most, what's the word? It deserves all the mourning and all of the attention that it's gotten. But I think we can look back now and say, wow, without that, there's no this in some ways. Not to say that the death of Patrick Dennehy was somehow a cause to this, but that's not what I'm saying at all. But the fact that everything that Dave Bliss did is now in some way there's some redemption here for Baylor.
Joe, do you remember that 03 scandal?
I do. I graduated in 03 from La Vega, so I was a local guy.
Wow. Do you remember Patrick Dennehy going missing?
That part I don't recall. I just remember all of the turmoil kicking up after everything took place, kind of after the fact, and it was nuts because it was all over the news, all over the newspaper. I can remember seeing pictures in the newspaper for quite some time on this, that, and the other coming up. It was pretty intense. And of course, it was a nasty eye that Baylor had to look themselves in the mirror. And technically, we're still looking ourselves in the mirror because of that.
Wow, definitely put a microscope on the basketball program without a doubt. And Scott Drew had to be. When Scott Drew was hired, the conversation was, listen, you can come here and be our basketball coach, but you've got to be the highest character guy that exists in the world.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, that was probably what they were hiring for. Like it was, hey, I hope we can win some games, but more
also
than anything, be a good guy.
Right.
Don't embarrass us.
And could you and bring a national championship, that too. Holy mess! You know what I just thought about?
Tell me,
Joe. You'll appreciate this too. Scott Drew stood at that podium months removed from the Patrick Dennehy murder, months removed from Dave Bliss being fired as Baylor's coach, with minimal scholarships, minimal chance for success. The university wasn't even asking him to win.
Yeah.
He stood at that podium and said, we were going to go to the Final Four at Valparaiso, and we're going to win a national championship at Baylor. You got the kahunas to say that on that stage in front of 17 people that are at the Farrell Center? After that scandal?
Gosh. You must have heard a pin drop, probably. You probably have people were laughing and a pin drop. Armstrong, what do you always say? Onions.
Onions!
It takes onions.
Jerry Hill said it. He was like, no, he said it, but who's going to believe it?
Right. They bought in.
Well, if you think about it, fellas, how many coaches say that all the time when they come into a program?
All of them.
It's almost cliche to say it nowadays because it's been said how many times. But, you have to give Scott Drew the utmost respect in the world because he didn't just say it, he did it, and then he brought it to another level because he set a bar for the standard, but in my opinion, he blew that standard out of the water and exceeded it tenfold.
Oh, absolutely.
It was probably kind of a controversial thing to say, too, because at this point, like you said, they're still picking up the pieces from the Patrick Dennehy murder. They've got a coach that was extremely morally corrupt. And so at this point, you're like, just get us back to neutral. Yeah. He's like, we're going to win a national title here.
Unbelievable. And, oh, my gosh. The fact that 18 years seems so current, recent. Yeah. When you think about how do you rebuild from that? If, like, again, there are people that thought Baylor wouldn't play basketball again. Like, they're going to be SMU death penalty, hiatus from the game of basketball for a while. Like, they're just, how do you rebuild this? Scott Drew said, I can do it. And he did it.
And even, yeah.
Those stepping stones that it took to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, 2005, he had an NBA player. That was drafted, that went in. A couple years later, he had another one. A couple years later, he got to the tournament, and then just look at all the ladder, or the steps on the ladder that it took to get to this point we're at now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And the fact that they are where they are now is wild. Hey, Joe, I got some Bear games for you here today. If you could take one restaurant from your past, by the way, Baylor volleyball up 10-9 right now in the fifth set. One restaurant from your past and move it here to Waco. I know you're just now relocating to Waco, so move it a couple blocks away from you. What restaurant would it be?
Actually, guys, I'm going to go back to, there's two places that I would bring. I'm going to go back to my military days. It was kind of like the recent interview you did with the guy taking the Thai food. I'm actually going to go to Germany and bring back the little street doner kebabs because over there, the night of debauchery doesn't end until about 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning.
Holy mess.
So it goes on for an extended period of time. But when you get the street food, which is a doner kebab, I mean, it is just amazing. And it's messy, but you don't care.
Right.
But it's delicious. I would bring that. And then also up north, they have a thing called Taco John's. It's on military base in Fort Hood, but it's not here in Waco. That would not be a bad thing to bring here either.
Taco John's it is. Lock it in. Hey, Joe, thanks for calling, man. Always great to hear from you.
Thanks, fellas. Hey,
Thanks,
Trailer
Joe.
Life, it's the way to go. I'm out.
Trailer Life.
Trailer, baby.
Oh, my gosh.
Trailer gang.
That was good, Joe. One of those guys that remembers it, you know?
Yeah. It's fun hearing people that were around when that was going on.
It's so eerie, man. You think about so you got the 2016, obviously. People tiptoe around this stuff. 2016, 2003. Go back to I'd say mid 90s with David Koresh. Now I've got professors that used to go watch David Koresh play in concert at bars. Like locally, they go out and watch him play.
Wow.
It's wild that that local history is on a national scale. Folks know about it.
Yeah.
But to be people around here lived it.
Yeah. What about the biker gang? When did that happen? The biker gang shootout deal.
What?
When was that? Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah. Let me look it up. I'll look it up before I try and expand on that story.
We got G-Dub on the caller line. G-Dub, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys?
What's up, G-Dub?
G-Dub, it's a great day to have a great day. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Hey, I think the biker shootout was like 2014, 2015, because my cousin went to welding school up there, and it screwed up his Twin Peaks Tuesdays.
Huh.
Because that's when they shut the Twin Peaks down.
Yeah. Wow. That was like for a conference, wasn't it? They were out there for like a biker gang conference.
They gathered for a meeting about political rights for motorcyclists. 200 people, 9 deaths, 18 injuries in a classic. What?
Isn't that wild?
Oh my god!
Waco's got some stuff about it now.
Oh.
Waco's got their fair share of dirty laundry. Hit the spin cycle real quick.
Hopefully we come out of that. Hopefully, I feel like we've come out of that. But wow, I didn't. That was news to me.
Yeah, that was like one of the. That was the scandal before the scandal, if you think about it.
Yeah,
it was the pregame.
Pregame. Oh man, G-Dub, what you got for us today? You always got some pretty insightful questions.
Hey, so here's the question. So last week and a half for the documentary, or the 30 for 30 or whatever we know that they're gonna make. Here's y'all's question. If you two and Armstrong were featured in that documentary, who would y'all want to play y'all?
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
So I got to have, welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I got to have somebody play that role. I'm going to give mine to Sterling Knight. Sterling Knight's going to play me. Sterling Knight. We have some vague resemblance. He's the guy that he lives in Waco, actually.
Does he really?
Yep. He's the guy that's in Sunny with a Chance and Starstruck. He's the Starstruck main character.
Okay.
He lives in Waco. I'm going to go Sterling Knight. JD,
I could see it.
Who's playing you?
Gosh, this is tough. Someone told me the other day that I sound like Matthew McConaughey. I don't think that's true. That'd be awesome though if Matthew McConaughey played me.
Matthew McConaughey is gonna.
I'd love that.
He's gonna be physically here. You need somebody young, like 20s.
Oh, really? Dang.
Who's playing us in the documentary?
Jake Paul.
It's not a documentary. Then it's not a documentary.
Good call.
He's not an actor.
Docu-series. In the mockumentary.
Nah, just movie. You
in the movie. Who's playing us? In
a documentary would just be using real footage and no actors.
No, they're sometimes they act out footage.
I want Vince Vaughn. I want Vince Vaughn playing us.
If I had to pick anybody, yeah, it's Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who's you?
Jesse Eisenberg for sure.
He's older though.
Who's Jesse Eisenberg?
Y'all just said Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson.
I love Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson.
Yeah, good point. Hey, G-Dub, are there any other questions? Or you had one yesterday?
Yes, I could see Jesse.
You see that?
I see that.
The one yesterday was if y'all could have partied with one pro Baylor athlete, any sport for the national championship, who would it be?
Oh, RG3's a tough one to say no to, but I would just love to spend an afternoon with Michael Johnson. The stories that guy probably has. Holy cow, Pepperdine's staying alive. That's over. It's over.
Baylor win?
Oh, we got a review, but it looks like it's over.
Pro athlete that I would like to party with after the national championship.
Are you ahead on your computer?
It is over. It is over. The Baylor Lady Bears are moving on to the round of 32.
There you go, Bears.
Very hard fought, down 2-1. Yeah. Baylor coach McGuire, they're moving on, and Yassiana Presley joins the show tomorrow. I can officially say that.
Let's go.
Because they won. Yassiana Presley will join the show tomorrow. There was a question.
Baylor pro athlete we'd like to party with after the Natty.
Oh, yeah, Michael Johnson.
That's a tough one to pass up. Give me Xavier Newman. Me and Xavier Newman are just going to hang out.
Freddie Gillespie.
Freddie Gillespie would be good.
Excuse me,
Xavier Howard.
Muncie,
Sorry.
Yes. To celebrate championships.
Max Muncy.
Max Muncy. Sorry, I said Xavier Newman. He's still on the team. Xavier Howard. The Dolphins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like Max Muncy. Max Muncy, you can take him back to 2012 at Baylor. Tough year. Hey, G-Dub, your Bear Games question of the day today. If you could move one restaurant from your past to wherever you are now, what would it be?
Well, I've lived in the same spot all my life. So if for some strange reason y'all are ever down in Hondo, I'm taking y'all to Mac and Ernie's.
Oh, okay.
It's like a look up Mac and Ernie's, like Mac and Ernie's.
Oh.
And it'll pop up like on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and stuff.
No way.
It was like the very first episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Wow, with the Flavortown. Take me to Flavortown at Mac and Ernie's.
4.6 stars.
Thanks for your call, G-Dub. Always good to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
See you, Dub.
Love it. I got Joe Frazier back again. Had another point he wanted to add. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Hey, y'all brought up David Koresh and Mount Com. I've actually got a big nugget for that because, granted, obviously I was here. I was growing up. I was like 3rd or 4th grade when that took place.
Yeah.
However, my dad ran the command post at City Hall, at the Bellmead Civic Center for the different agencies that were coming in and out of there. He also has a AK-47 round that he got put on a chain that he wears. I believe he still wears it to this day. When the explosion went off, it hit him. I believe it stuck to the back of his neck, and he was able to recover it, and he saved it. Then at the end, before the explosion went off, when they pulled the kids out of there, they looked at my dad straight in the eye and said, "You bad guy shot my daddy."
Wow.
So I mean, there's a ton of history with that David Koresh stuff, because if you think about it, it led to the Oklahoma City stuff as well.
Yeah. What a dark day on Uptempo today that we've created.
That's a lot.
We have created a dark, dark day.
What a story, though. Thanks for sharing that, Joe.
The fact that I love that, Joe. I love history in general, but the fact that these folks around here lived it is awesome. Thanks for calling us and giving us that.
Yes, sir. Hey, I appreciate it. I mean, it was a pretty dark day for me and my sister because, I mean, we didn't know what was going on, and all we heard was what was on the news, and our dad was out there, so it was a little eerie for us as well. I bet. But, hey, I appreciate you guys. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thanks for your call, Joe. Wow. So Baylor volleyball's moving on. That is good news.
There we go. Huge. Huge. Monumental for the Baylor women's Bears. Do the Baylor Lady Bears? Probably the Lady Bears, right? But there's not a men's volleyball team.
Yeah.
So it's just the Bears, huh?
I would assume
we don't have to differentiate.
I think we can go with Bears.
So we're Sweet 16 in it, huh?
Sweet 16, yep. And we have Yassiana Presley on the show tomorrow.
How sweet it is.
To be loved by you. All right, I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about sports. This is Up Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32, the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2 seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCATA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on the new 2021 Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $5,500 or 0% for 84 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Central Texas new Ram commercial truck headquarters with 3,500 and 5,500 chassis cabs and other great work trucks. Visit Allen Samuels today. It's Ram Truck Month.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back in the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims.
What is going on? What is this? I declare bankruptcy!
Why are we yelling? You ever seen Anchorman?
Yes.
We need to watch that. Why are we yelling?
That's the next one. From disgrace to Anchorman. What a pivot.
60% of the time,
Armstrong,
it works every time. James Lamon said Vinnie Johnson. Vinnie Johnson would be his choice to watch the old championship with. Vinnie Johnson would be a good one.
Ooh, okay. When was he at Baylor?
Oh, it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Vinnie was a great pro, though. The microwave, Vinnie Johnson.
Interesting. Okay, I need to brush up.
So yesterday, something took place with Ted Teague.
Yep. I think it was a couple days ago.
It's gonna be like a super dark day.
Yeah.
We're just going through it right now.
We're gonna acknowledge it.
Yeah. I think you should. You should acknowledge everything. I mean, it's what everybody's talking about in local sports. Like, you can't just bypass it. It's not like, that happened. Let's just move on.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah.
You don't want to bury it. You don't want to bury anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, if the university addressed it, we should address it.
Okay, that's fair. I think my reason for asking you should we address it is because it was totally independent of anything Baylor had to do with it. It wasn't like Baylor was like, yeah, our guy Ted Teague. From what I understand, he's just a guy that's donated cars whenever they win the Natty.
Which
he did the same thing and said something pretty stupid.
So legal, very cool. Like, I would love to donate, if I had enough money, a car to Baylor basketball as well for winning a national championship.
Right.
It was the comment that he made. I want to say this about it, because I know a lot of differing opinions, and it's a hot topic in social media right now. I want to be as empathetic, aware, and transparent with how I feel, but also, open and loving at the same time.
Sure.
with situations like this to say that what happened, what was said was wrong.
Yes.
Completely, entirely wrong.
Yep.
Scott Drew and Mack Rhodes did the right thing in declining to take the vehicle.
Yep.
Declining the vehicle was the right thing to do on their behalf, and to respond so quickly and say, we don't stand for this. This is not us. I will also say, again, what happened was so you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Whether you're on camera, behind the scenes, it doesn't matter. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Terry did a great job. Terry, somebody of the afternoon show guys know well, did a great job of saying, listen, I screwed up. And he knew in the moment that he did. And he came out and said, I screwed up. I did the wrong thing. He didn't try to defend himself and say, oh, well, it was a mistake. And this excuse. He just said, hey, I screwed up. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to be better.
Yeah.
I'm going to be better. That, I commend him for that. What happened was wrong, but I do want to commend the apology. And I also want to commend Baylor Athletics for responding the right way.
Yeah. And you can tell, watching back the video, you can tell right when he says what he said.
Right.
He goes, like he knows, shouldn't have said that. So I truthfully don't have a ton of insight as to who he is or what goes on with, the giving of the cars and all that. So I don't have a ton of, I guess, like unpacking to do with the situation. You just watch it and you're like, dude, you can't say that. You can't say that. That's wrong on so many levels. The concerning part for me is, and I don't know him personally. I have no idea what his life is like, and I don't want to speak on, I'm in no way, shape, or form on any moral high ground, but I will say what's in the heart comes out of the mouth. And so I think there needs to be some evaluation for everybody in Waco. Okay, like where are we placing our emphasis on when it comes to matters like that? Is that some subconscious bias that's creeping in? So it's just another thing, and really the last 2 years we need to really be, I think, extra cognizant of and make sure we're all, educating ourselves accordingly.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's even close. I mean, if everything that I've ever done in my life comes out at the forefront, in the foreground, I've made plenty of mistakes before.
Ditto.
I've made plenty of mistakes before. I've peed on a roadside ditch.
Stop.
Nice.
We're not live, are we?
Very different reactions to that.
We're not live, are we?
It's a saying. I don't think it actually is, but I made it one. We've all made mistakes. I think cancel culture is so toxic.
Yes.
And so the fact that, hey, let's not cancel somebody. Let's educate, and which is, I think, is what's being done here. And then there's forgiveness. And when someone repents, Abar Rouse said it last night on the documentary. I've seen true repentance. I've seen people that they feel guilty for what they've done, and they understand what they did wrong, and they've corrected it. And I think in a situation like this, you've got an opportunity for someone to right the wrong they did without losing their job or losing social standing. I mean, hey, this happened. Address it. Don't tiptoe around it. But it can be made better by all parties involved.
Yeah, it's very dangerous when you start to. I think it's good to acknowledge what's wrong. It's good to say, hey, this is what happened. This is why it's wrong. This is what happened. That's wrong. Let's all get that out in the open. When you sweep things under the rug, and I think there's been a poor job of Baylor in the past potentially doing that and choosing not to acknowledge
past administrators.
Things. Yeah,
nobody there now.
For sure, exactly. No, not anyone that's still affiliated.
They took
with
the correct
Baylor.
steps after.
Completely. But I love that you said so much forgiveness is an important part of this. And again, I'm not saying that anything he did was in any way, shape, or form even close to morally right. But I think it's very, very dangerous where we live in society that forgiveness is something that we want to bypass. I mean, if you want to give away the virtue of forgiveness, then we're all screwed. Like, this is all going to the dogs quick. And so I think cancel culture has kind of created a scenario where forgiveness is kind of thrown out the window, and we want to just distance ourselves as far as we can from anything that happens that's morally wrong, which I think is good. But at the same time, you have to understand, hey, we all require forgiveness. And so, how people choose to move forward is completely up to their own opinion. But I think that there needs to be some reevaluating with how we want to go around with forgiveness and how much weight we give to that, because I think it's very important.
Boom. When someone gives a genuine apology and is genuinely sorry and, again, apologetic for what they've done, that should be met with redemption.
Yep,
and I think that's what will happen in this case. I hope it's what happens in this case. There are other cases where apologies are fake, they don't exist, and then someone goes on a documentary and says something that completely trumps their apology and shows that it was all fake.
Yeah, and that's that the cameras are rolling, and then the cameras are in fact rolling.
And then continues to say things that you should never say as a human being, and then gets fired from your job 3 days later because you should.
Yeah.
Not the situation that happened here.
Right.
Cancel culture to transfer culture.
Wow.
Bum, ba-da-bum, bum, 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 bum.
That. Where's the bell? That's a bell right there. I love that.
Yeah, that's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that. It's good. Wow. That's not even the caffeine. That's just the bell.
Yeah. Belldozer.
The transfer portal. You were telling me about some new rules, some new stuff going on with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Talk to the folks.
Yeah. So per Twitter and per some other accounts with blue checks, the NCAA has passed a rule where you can now transfer without any consequence, essentially. There's no need for a waiver. So it's a 1-year pass, basically. So this was also, I didn't know this was available to all sports except for baseball, men's and women's basketball, hockey, and football. And so I'm kind of thinking about this as I'm reading this, and I'm like, these are just the sports that could potentially make you money. Everyone else is okay to transfer except for the schools and the sports that are going to make you money. So I'm for this, though. I think it's kind of overdue. I love that it gives more leverage to the players in a world where now it's more so like, hey, coaches can sign a kid and get out whenever they want. I think it gives them more power to these kids to where if a coach wants to double cross, and maybe double cross is the wrong word, but there are definitely situations where coaches will know they're going somewhere else the next day and still say, yeah, come to our school, play for me, I'll be around, and then the next day they're not. So that gives the power to the kid to say, okay, well, I committed to play for you. I committed to play for this school, I committed to other things, but the one telling me to come here was you, and you're now not here anymore. So that changes the whole game for me. And so I love that we're giving more power to these players. But it's interesting that it took this long. It's interesting also that it wasn't available to these sports that make money. I think that says a lot about where the NCAA's priorities lie. But I'm happy about it. I think it's a good thing overall for college sports.
You're putting more power in the players' hands.
Mm-hmm.
That said, you're going to hurt some programs here. And I think you're going to hurt good programs because there are players that just don't fit into a good culture, which is very odd. I think you're going to create maybe some toxicity with this. The freedom to the players is what it should be. It's how it should be. College athletics is becoming more and more of a business, so this is going to give players an opportunity to make a business decision. We talked about that earlier. Like the Duke kid, the Johnson kid that quit playing. He made a business decision. This is becoming a business. Folks are going to be able to start selling their likenesses for money now. So being able to transfer, what it does, though, it adds a different element to a coach. Now we've heard coaches say it on our own show. Like, why would you recruit high school players now? Why not just go
to the grad transfer?
Just go grad portal. transfer portal, because there are gonna be thousands in there. Nobody wants to sit out a year,
right?
But you have that opportunity. How many folks are gonna use it? You know, so many players. You go like, hey, we want to redshirt you to make you a better athlete. Nope, I'm transferring.
Right,
like just gone.
Yeah, I think that's the problem you run into is will 18-year-olds be able to take this much power? Like it'll really weed out, okay, who wants to just go and try to find the best spot for them and run from competition versus kids that actually need to find a better fit or have a need to go back home because their mom's sick or because they have some other extenuating circumstance. So the biggest thing why I think this was necessary was because there was so much gray area as to who had a legitimate reason and who didn't. And so I love the NCAA saying, okay, you discern for yourself what your reason is. Whether it is competition, whether it is a family situation, you now have the power to do what's best for you. You want to be treated like an adult. You want to be a professional, because that's what some of these people preach when they bring on high school kids is, hey, you'll be treated like a pro. You'll be developed into a pro. Okay, being a pro, you make decisions for yourself and where the best fit is. And so now giving that power to kids, I like it. I do think there is danger in allowing kids to now decide, hey, if the going gets tough, if I'm not the guy, that's fine. I can go wherever I want. But, I mean, with great power becomes great responsibility. So we're going to see a lot, I think mostly in the quarterback position, kids bouncing around and being able to play right away. It's going to be free agency-esque. So
agency.
I'm for it, but I think it definitely comes with the caveat of, all right, we're lending ourselves even more to this is a pro game.
It's going to be tough. I think I'm glad that you mentioned that, the way that this helps athletes. It's going to be so tough, though, from a program standpoint, to build and have to recruit not just high school, but also now recruit out of the transfer portal and guys that can just jump ship whenever. I mean, they can just leave. And also, I think it's going to hurt a lot of athletes, too, that leave and think like, oh, yeah, I can go somewhere else, and they get to somewhere else, and somewhere else doesn't exist.
Yeah. Consequences, right? I mean, decisions got them. Consequences. And so the guys that
But they're so young, too. They're college athletes.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, though. You look at the big programs, the Clemsons, the Alabamas. I'm thinking more so for college football because I think that's where we'll see the most turnover is because, you have 22 spots for 100 and, however many guys. So just by strictly numbers,
right,
you're going to have most turnover, especially at quarterback. But I think, the big programs, the programs where you talk about culture being really strong, right? Like
Baylor.
Alabama, Clemson.
Culture. If you're talking culture, that's what I like a lot about Baylor. Mm-hmm. Baylor's got the culture to keep this going.
Yeah. I mean, how many times are you going to – I think Alabama had like 4 guys leave.
Yeah.
Out of however many hundred, 4 guys leave your program. That says something. And you don't play right away at Alabama. You don't play as a freshman. You redshirt. Maybe you take 2 years behind whoever's going to be the first-round draft pick at your position. and you stay on board. So schools like that, they see this and like, that's fine. We'll probably get some guys that we need on our team.
Yeah.
But the schools with poor culture, it's gonna expose them.
So you want to be Baylor in this situation. You want to have good culture.
Yep.
I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims. Maybe Baylor benefits from new transfer rules. We come back. We'll play This Day in Sports History, Celebrity Birthdays, and a little bit of a Take 3. This is Up Tempo.
Win or go home. The 12-seed Baylor volleyball team takes on Pepperdine at 11 a.m. today in the round of 32 of the NCAA Volleyball Championship Tournament. Yassiana Presley and company finished the regular season 19-6 overall, with an 8-4 record away from Waco. The team is also facing a familiar foe in Pepperdine, as the Waves and the Bears met on February 28th, with Baylor winning a tight 3-2 match. The Baylor equestrian team found its way into postseason play and will square off with number 1 overall Auburn today at the Extraco Events Center in Waco. The meet takes place at 10 a.m. and can be watched live on BaylorBears.com. Similarly, the acrobatics and tumbling team learned their tournament seeding as Felecia Mulkey and her squad are the national 2 seed for the event and will take on rival Oregon at 7 p.m. in Waco next Thursday as part of the NCAA National Championships. Elsewhere in Baylor sports, the women's tennis team had no issue with TCU as the Lady Bears won the match 5-2 last night in Fort Worth. And the softball team came up just short against nationally ranked Texas State, 7-5 in Waco. Across the country, Arizona has a new head basketball coach as the program lured away longtime Gonzaga assistant Tommy Lloyd. The 46-year-old Lloyd interviewed with the team over the weekend and has accepted a 5-year contract. And Scott Drew and the Baylor athletics program made it clear yesterday that the men's team and coaching staff would not accept a Jeep wrapped in the national championship logo after insensitive remarks were made by the donator of the vehicle. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental. Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Over the course of the break, JD's dog ran away.
Yeah, again. I told him, hey, if you run away, that's the last time. And this was the last time.
I've got chills.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad for that dog.
I've got chills.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's all right. I'll get another one.
No way that
I'll
exists.
I'll get another one.
No way that exists.
I'll get another one.
No way that exists.
All
I've
right.
got chills.
Wow, rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Sleep with one eye open. Touching the pillow now. Emma Watson's birthday is today.
There you go, Emma. I didn't realize it was Baker Mayfield's birthday yesterday. I had Baker Mayfield underwear on. True story, unbeknownst. Also, it was Chase Young's birthday yesterday. I didn't realize that.
Holy mess.
Isn't that wild? Absolutely craziness.
Did you say a celebrity birthday?
Emma. I did. Emma Watson.
I'm gonna say she is. I think we've had her before. Emma Watson. Let's say she's 26. No, 27. 27.
I'd say 29 or 30.
31.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, 31. Leonardo da Vinci.
Actually,
is how old today?
I have actually no clue.
Let's say he is 250.
I was going to say 250.
569. 569.
Happy birthday.
Is old.
Happy birthday, Leo.
I guess that makes sense.
Dead or alive, Leo.
Now that I really think about it, I'm not really thinking.
Luis Fonsi. Birthday's today.
All right, who's Luis Fonsi?
I don't know. He did something.
There you go, Luis. 14.
Luis Fonsi is 40. 43.
There you go.
Bang!
Seth Rogen.
From downtown. 38.
50.
39.
He's young.
He is young. Chris Stapleton's birthday is today. Pretty good day of birthdays.
Okay. Chris Stapleton.
49.
47.
43.
Wow. Okay.
Rapper Ayaz. His birthday is today.
Shardy like
20.
a melody in the night. That
7.
one. I'm gonna say he's 29.
He is 34. 34.
Wow. Ayaz.
Kim
Never heard
Tu-sung. Kim Tu-sung would have been how old today? He was a
90.
world leader.
90.
102.
Kim Tu-sung would have been 109.
Wow, nice, JD.
Guru Nanak. Religious leader Guru Nanak would have been how old?
87.
104.
552.
Oh, gosh.
552 today. Bro,
Nanak.
I am kind of shook, man.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I'd be too.
I didn't like anything.
Yeah.
Didn't follow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Stalked last night.
They're talking about JD's dog running away.
Yeah.
I'm just distraught over that.
That'll be all right.
First modern Summer Olympics Games closes in Athens, Greece. USA wins gold medal count with 11. Greece wins total medal count with 46. IOC has retroactively assigned gold, silver, and bronze medals to third best placed athletes.
1984.
1896, 1984 first Olympics. Walter Johnson pitches a record-tying 4 strikeouts in an inning.
1964.
I was going to say 1922.
1911.
We have
these
probably
are so
40 seconds
old.
for take 3 if y'all want to do that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Jackie Robinson led it in 4 sports. True or false?
False.
At UCLA.
False.
True.
We're just going to go ahead and list these off as we... Or actually, that's not fair. We'll keep going. Baylor won 7 games to start the season in 2001. To start the year 2007 or in 2001, they won 7 games.
In football?
Hot. Mhm.
True.
The Bills, before this year, hadn't made the playoffs since Clinton was president.
True.
False.
No, false.
Tim Tebow only trailed once in the fourth quarter as the starter for the Broncos.
No, also true on Bills. True.
True.
On Bills.
True.
And Tim Tebow what?
Tim Tebow only trailed once in the fourth quarter as the starter for the Broncos.
True.
False.
There are 7 minutes of action in a baseball game. 7 minutes of real action, gameplay.
False.
China didn't win an Olympic
gotta be
medal
right.
until 1984. True or false?
False.
We have Jackie Robinson, led it in 4 sports at UCLA. True. Baylor football only won 2 games to start the 2001 season.
Oh, yeah, it was 0-1. What am I thinking?
The Bills hadn't made the playoffs since
steal.
Clinton was president. True. Before this year. Tebow trailed in 6 of his 7 wins. They were comebacks, so he trailed in all those. There's 18 minutes of baseball action, so that was false. China didn't win an Olympic medal until 1984. That was true.
All right, I'm Drake Toll.
I have no idea what the score was. Great showing by both
you know what
parties.
time it is.
Later, guys.
I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. Pickell, Armstrong, Sims. Come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. This has been Up Tempo.